Welcome in. Yep. I would also like to welcome in Sean Wilcott, our state rep. Sean, thank you for being here. First, I would like to thank all of you for coming. You know, this is what a republic is all about, what it's always supposed to be about. This is a critical function for any productive community. You guys chose to donate your energy capital to be here tonight. You know, and that's the most valuable asset you have. I know this, and I just want to say thank you to the people who are here tonight. Thank you. I would also, real quick, like to thank all the people who worked so hard to put this meeting on. Many of you probably don't know this, but this meeting was organized, planned, and 100% funded by the people. No taxpayer dollars were used to put this meeting on. So thank you for everything. Kind of a special note, I want to, real quick, I'm totally embarrassed with that. I want to do a special thanks to Kathleen. Kathleen, wave your hand back there. Many people may or may not know this, but Kathleen has, over the last many months, has exercised her First Amendment right of free press to film all of the government meetings and broadcast them, and it's healthy. It's not always comfortable, but it's healthy for everyone involved. Kathleen, I want to say thank you for that. We also want to thank the church. How cool that they let us do this here, right? So I want to thank the church and the church community. Last and certainly not least, I want to thank the commissioners for several things. The first thing is, many of you may not know this, but the commissioners decided to open their own YouTube page in an effort to broadcast their meetings live. This is a great step further to government transparency, and so I salute you guys for that. Thank you. The second thing I want to thank you guys for tonight is you being here. I know that you know that the questions will be hard. I know you know this, but you showed up anyway, and I think that this deserves an incredible amount of respect. I also want to let everybody know that when I approached the commissioners and said, hey, we want to do this, will you participate? Every one of them agreed without debate. They didn't resist in any way. They said, we'll be there. And I think this deserves an incredible amount of respect. And so the commissioners will thank you. Tonight is a really great opportunity. You get to hear from your commissioners, but equally as important, they get to hear from you. As many of you know, we conducted a survey all over Jackson County with two goals in mind. One was to identify what are the topics that are most important to you. And then two, by doing that, we figured out how much time we should spend on each topic. But make no mistake, there is no topic off limit. Ask your question tonight. This meeting tonight is about you. We'll begin questions tonight with pre-submitted questions that we received during the survey process. These are not my questions, and so I would ask the audience and the commission, don't hit me with it. I'm just reading it. After that, we will open it up to the audience and have your questions ready. Any time that's left over, we'll transition back to the pre-submitted questions, and I'll do my very best to get to all of them, but I want to let you guys all know this. We had so many questions submitted, it's going to be very hard for me to get every single one of them. So I ask for your grace, I ask for your patience tonight. I'll do my very best to get through every single one of them. If tonight's going to be successful, we must remain respectful. Peaceful civil discourse is healthy to every single community. I welcome it here, but we are in a church, so let's use our best church behavior. Okay? Please keep your questions, your answers, and your rebuttals short and to the point, because again, it's our goal that everybody gets heard tonight. Also, please be respectful of the people asking the question, the people answering the question, and also to the people trying to hear the question by being quiet during tonight's meeting. Finally, last thing is, there's an email sign-up sheet over there. Also, you will see an email address that will pop up on the screen many times. You want to be kept in the loop of what's going on in Jackson County community meetings, town hall meetings. If you give us your email address, we'll do our best to keep you up to speed. We're going to begin tonight by opening statements by the county commissioners, and we're going to begin with 3rd District Commissioner Keith Kelly. Keith.
Thank you, Rowdy. I'd just like to say thanks to Rowdy, Matt, where are you, Matt? Back there, for putting this together. I really appreciate it. Rowdy and I have talked about this for the last few months. We've kind of kicked this idea around about doing one of these. I'd like to thank those who are helping with child care back there. I think that's really cool that there's people that are willing to do that. And then the church here, Neil back there, hanging out and volunteering to run the sound system and stuff. I appreciate that. Most of all, to each one of you for being here. I appreciate you coming in, taking the time to be here, to listen to our answers, give us feedback. I have a lot of information for tonight. So I'll just start out with, I'm a taxpayer just like you, and I don't like rising property taxes. Nobody likes property taxes. We're going to talk about ways that we can possibly reduce those tonight. I'm excited about the discussion tonight to learn what is important to you as Jackson County taxpayers. That's one of the things that we've been doing, meeting with the townships over the last few months, trying to put together people who can give us feedback when it comes to large scale projects. So communication, I think, is important. I think our last meeting was a really good meeting. Really good feedback. To decrease taxes, we need revenue source like a nuclear power. And I know there's all kinds of myth and all kinds of things around the nuclear power, but I'm telling you, there's just two ways that we can get money for a county to operate a county. One of those is through taxes, sales tax, and through industry. And I think we have a real opportunity here with the nuclear power from Terra Power. We'll get into that more tonight. We'll talk about that more. I know I still have lots of questions, but I think it's a real opportunity. And if we want to reduce, and I will tell you, standing up here tonight, it can mean millions of dollars for this county, and I'm willing to cut property taxes, the mill levy, overnight to apply that so that you all get relief from that. Not only you all, but myself too. So we'll talk more about Terra Power tonight. You have a little bit of a statement here about Terra Power. It says the site was selected after significant search in Wyoming. So they're building one currently in Wyoming. It sits on, I believe, about 100 acres, 15 of it's under roof. But what it takes is local community input, and it takes community support. That means you all have to educate yourself on what this is, who's building it. We're going to try to help educate you. Rowdy and I have talked about a future meeting where we can help educate people on that. These are real tax dollars that are going to offset property taxes. The project will employ approximately 1,600 workers during peak construction of the plant. Once the plant is operational, about 250 full-time, high-paying jobs. That includes security. The Terra Power itself estimates that the project will bring $25 million in local taxes to Lincoln County in Wyoming and will contribute to the property taxes in the region. That's huge. If you look at what Coffee County, they're bringing in about $30 million annually in property taxes down. There are things that we can do in this county to cut taxes. We're going to talk about some of those, but one of those pieces involves industry of some sort coming into this county. Thank you.
Second District Commissioner Linda Gerhardt. Well, you don't have to say anything. If you want to, you can.
I have nothing to say.
Okay, sounds good.
I actually appreciate all of you being here tonight. Just take it easy, guys.
First District Commissioner Mark Pruitt.
I want to thank you all for coming tonight. It's great to see you all here. I know a lot of you. There's a lot of familiar faces in the crowd. There's a lot of folks that I've seen in town. Don't know you, but hope to one of these days. I didn't prepare any speech either, but I will echo what Commissioner Kelly said. We are trying to bring this in. When I first heard about it and approached the other two commissioners about the Terra Power nuclear power plant, they were kind of like, can we do that here? I was like, well, yeah, let's just throw our hat in the ring and see what we can do. I said, I don't think that it's going to hurt anything. I don't think it's going to be a a bad thing for us to try to get something like that here. Jackson County, of course, as most of you know, is not set up for any kind of heavy industry. We don't have the water, which is one thing I've been hearing that people are saying that, well, we can't do a nuclear power plant because we don't have water. This is not water cooled. This plant is not water cooled. It is a molten sodium. And so that is a big difference between here and Burlington with Wolf Creek, because Wolf Creek, and I'm sure we'll get into solar too tonight, which is great. One of the things that I kept trying to educate people on as I've talked to them is the fact that, 2,000 acre solar farm that a lot of people are against. They say it's too big, don't want it. Okay, fine, I understand that. But we're going to have to do what we can do for Jackson County. But my point being is 2,000 acres versus, I think, 13,000 acres for Wolf Creek. Because I had several people tell me, well, we need a nuclear power plant here. We need to do something like that. Well, 13,000 acres versus 2,000 acres is a heck of a difference. So I was just throwing that out there so you all understand that. But 100 acres for a power plant is a lot better than 13,000 or 2,000 as far as I'm concerned. So being with that, let's go ahead and get started, because I want to get going. And I want to get going so that we can get everybody, get all your questions answered, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Thank you. So tonight we're going to begin in the category of government transparency. As you guys will see, we're going to put a lot of the questions up there on the screen in case someone has a hard time hearing them. Question number one that was submitted to us is, who is the highest elected official in the county and who does the buck stop with? Let's begin with Mark.
Thank you for calling me Mark, not Mr. Pruitt. All right. Where the buck stops in the county is basically with three of us. We are the highest elected officials, but we're on the same page. I mean, the elected officials are all on the same level as far as I'm concerned. They're elected officials. We can't tell them what to do as far as what happens in their office or things like that. But the three of us sitting on the commission is where the buck stops. So, you have a problem with one of the elected officials, you can come talk to us and we can try to make things smooth things out, but they're still, that is still their office. They run their office. And basically the only thing that we have control of over their offices is funds. That's it. So.
Thank you, Mark. Hello. There you go. Thank you, Mark. Any of you guys have anything else you want to add to that topic? That question before I go on?
Yeah, I would just say that we are the highest elected official in the county, and we handle their budget, and it's our responsibility to make sure that those budgets are held accountable.
But we're not paid the most.
Good point. What do you guys see, and this is a question for all three commissioners, what do you guys see as a vision for the role of county commissioner? And we'll start with Linda.
My vision was just to listen to the people of Jackson County and, see what they needed to try to help wherever I could. I feel like we need more economic development, and I just would like to make this a better county.
Thank you, Mark.
Well, my vision for the county is probably what it has been since I was a kid. I grew up here. I've traipsed over most of this county from the time I was able to drive. And I love this county. I love the people in this county. The things that we can try to do, like I said, Jackson County is not set up for any type of a big industry. We can try to bring some smaller industries in, such as what you see up in Seneca and Sabetha and Hiawatha. But if you look at those smaller industries that are up there, most of those are family-owned industries that grew from there. We had one here in Holton for the longest time, BMB, as many of you know that. It started here in Holton and grew, and then it sold out to Alamo. And a year after it sold out, Alamo moved it to Illinois. Okay, So that was one of the biggest industries that we had in the county. We have some smaller folks that are starting to do things like that. Hoffman Brothers, they are expanding, which is great. I think that that's probably the type of industry that you're going to have to see in Jackson County. And I look forward to trying to get more of it started here. I will agree with Commissioner Gerhardt. I think economic development is something that we need to look at real hard, but trying to pay an economic development director to come in here is not gonna work. I mean, pretty much it's gonna be the three of us or whoever's sitting in these chairs that are going to have to try to talk, drag people in, look at what we've got to offer. So that's pretty much where I'm at.
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, so the question was, what is your vision for the role of county commissioner? My role is to make sure that when we're going through budget, we're looking at what every department's doing. We go line item by line item. We're making sure that there's accountability there. It's hard sometimes to cut stuff out, but it has to happen. The other role is to make sure that departments are meeting the vision. We should set the vision or the direction that the county should go. Customer service. I think customer service in every department should be one of the number one things that we do, that we strive to do. I don't care if it's road and bridge. I don't care if it's the appraiser's office. I don't care if it's the treasurer's office. Customer service has to be number one, and we are working on that. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's like pushing a log chain uphill, but we're getting better at it, I believe. Setting that vision, meeting with our department heads, making sure that they have the tools they need, and I think that's our role from our perspective, I guess. Not day-to-day operations. We don't handle day-to-day operations at Road and Bridge or any of the other departments. But setting that vision and the standards is one of the biggest things I think we should be doing, and we should show leadership. And if we're not showing good leadership, if there's a problem in the county, it's up to us to fix that. It's our fault if people aren't getting good customer service. We need to take care of that. I need to know that. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. Sure. You got it. Okay. Next question for all the commissioners. Has any of the county commissioners or county councilors, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be reading up here. Just smack me, Tiffany. Have any of the county commissioners or county councils signed an NDA with TerraPower, NextEra, Boulevard Associates, Jeffrey Solar, or any other subsidiary?
No.
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 Excellent. Okay. You there? Okay. As leaders of the county, what is your 5, 10, and 25-year plan? Keith.
Okay, I got to stand up. I can't sit here all night. Okay, so 5 years, short range. It's pretty easy for me. It's to bring industry into this county to reduce property taxes of some sort. There is another piece to this. It's 33,000 acres that have been taken off the tax roll. Now, a lot of you may or may not understand what that is. It's not a popular topic to talk about, but folks, we got to have the conversation. And if we don't have the conversation, it's a creep. And I'm going to tell you what, within 20 years from now, it'll be 60,000 acres. Now, I don't have a problem with the folks who are putting this land into USA Trust. My fight is with the United States government. They should be reimbursing this county and any other county that allows this to go on. We can't sustain 33,000 acres being taken off the tax roll and still provide the same services we've always. So 5-year plan for me to get that done. 10-year plan for me, get that done. 25-year plan, when we get that done, we'll be able to lower property taxes, bring more industry into this county. And again, there are all kinds of things that happen when you lower property taxes. You get more people that want to move in certain areas around your incorporated cities. You bring businesses in because they want to come in. They want to come from a city, from a Shawnee County or Topeka, because our property taxes could be lower. So getting those two things done are huge to me. And I've been working on that since I became a commissioner. I'll leave it at that for now.
I'll echo what Commissioner Kelly said. I know that I've had conversations with a lot of you folks in here about this problem. And once again, I will say that our problem is not with the tribe. The tribe is doing exactly what they're allowed to do. Buy land. I do have one problem with that, and that is when they purchase land off of the reservation and put that in a trust. Because I believe Commissioner Kelly had a conversation with a gentleman who was ecstatic about the new truck stop and convenience stores and everything that's going in down at 150th, until he found out that that is in trust out there. It's not on the reservation, and we get nothing off of that. Property tax, sales tax, nothing. So there again, I will echo that for the short range, that is what we need to be focused on through the federal government, trying to get reimbursed for what they have taken off of the tax rolls. And it's growing every day, 33,000 acres and growing. So that's something that has to be addressed. And we can't let it go. We can't bury our head in the sand and say, "Well, it doesn't matter." It does matter. It matters for my kids and my grandkids. It matters for your kids and your grandkids, because our taxes are just going to keep going up if we cannot get this reined in and get some kind of reimbursement from the federal government for what they have allowed to happen. As far as for 10 years, if we can get this done between now and 10 years, because you know how the federal government moves, it's slow. We can't get anything done quickly. Then I believe that we can see in the next 15 years after that, we can see a huge turnaround in this county. And it will affect all of you. It will affect me, my kids, and my grandkids. So we have to keep working that way. We all have to keep working that way and see what we can get done. And it's going to take your voices too, to our congressional delegation, to do something to help us, because we have tried on our own and that didn't pan out, because we got dropped like a hot potato by our congressional delegation. And I'm not even gonna go where I want to go, but I will leave it at that. So thank you.
Thank you. Linda?
As Mark said, we just need all of your help with the congressional delegation. I mean, it's going to take all of you to help us to get anywhere with it.
Okay, I hope to get back to transparency of government, but I have to move on to the next topic in order to allow enough time for people to talk. My first question is, and this is under section 2, which is budget and taxes. So the first question is, and to Keith, to you first, what do you see as the best opportunity to lower taxes?
That's a great question. Best opportunity to lower property taxes. We can look at doing away with departments, and I have a list of those. So we have noxious weed, which is mandated by the state of Kansas. We have to have a noxious weed department. The household hazardous waste, we don't have to have it. We could do away with it. We could do away with recycling. We could do away with elderly center. We could do away with the landfill. I'm just not sure whether that's what you guys want to do. The other things that we can do, we could look at Road and Bridge. There are opportunities at Road and Bridge where we could sub that work out. We could eliminate some equipment. We can eliminate some employees. We could contract out some of the work that they're doing. I don't believe we'll be able to, at this point, sub out operators for road graders or dump truck drivers, but there may be some opportunity there to do that. I think there's always opportunity to go back and look at your budget. I'm going to give you an example. 3 or 4 years ago, we were going through the budget, waste management. Sorry if anybody here that works for waste management, but waste management was charging us $46,000 and some change. We bid that out and got a local company to do that for about $12,000 to $16,000. Huge savings. It's our responsibility to make sure that we're going through those, that things don't just get paid on an annual basis and then kind of forgotten about, and the price just keeps going up. So it's stuff like that that we look at. Ambulance service, $543,000. We subsidize that on an annual basis. I'm going to go through a list of appropriations that we all pay into to subsidize. NECAP, $5,000. Multi-County Health Department, $79,000. Conservation District, everybody knows what the Conservation District here in Jackson County is. That's $68,000. Fair building, everybody likes a good 4-H fair, right? $38,024 every year, and that's going up. They're going to ask for more money. Intellectuals with disabilities, $30,000. Multi-health, $75,000. Fair premiums, $9,300 or $9,100. There's multiple things that, well before I ever became a commissioner, that the county was subsidizing basically through appropriations to help those agencies around the county. You can let me know either tonight or whatever, what would be some of those you'd want to see gone? We don't have to subsidize them, but it will affect your county. It will affect the way things run. So I guess the point I'm getting at is I believe there is always some possibility to trim the budget and do away. But folks, I got to tell you, we just got our third raise in 12, 13 months on rock. When I started as a county commissioner at Mid-States Material down here off of 142, it was $13 and some change. It's now $22 our cost as a county. It's stuff like that. I mean, we cut $300,000 out of our rock budget last year. Yeah, so we have other places in the county we can buy gravel. Hams has a quarry, Atchison, different places around, and we do that. We look at what we're spending and where we can get the best bang for our buck. And the gravel hardness, I will address the gravel hardness. We do require that all quarries meet KDOT's specifications for, it's not hardness, help me out, it's durability. Thank you. They're all tested. They're all tested. So I will tell you, we do look at that, but there's always ways to try to trim the budget and save money.
Thank you, Linda.
I just want people to understand that when they have a tax statement that comes out, it's not all county money that you're paying taxes on. It's to the schools, cities, cemeteries, other people too. I mean, you pay the money to the county, but then the money goes out other places too. And like he says, you have to tell us where you want, what you don't want, what you want us to cut.
Well, I'm really hoping the people of the audience help you guys with that tonight. Mark, you're up next.
Yeah, so as Linda said, the county's just a flow through, okay? The only money that we keep for the county is what our mill levy is. Everything else flows through to the schools, cemetery districts, to a lot of other things. So you really have to look at your tax statement to see what you're getting or what you're paying and where it's going to. Okay, we get vilified a lot because it all comes to us. Well, it doesn't all come, it comes to us, but then it goes right back out. So one of the things, if you see this chart up here, what this is, there are, and I believe 17? I'm gonna have to count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 unfunded mandates from the state that says you will provide this. And Keith alluded to emergency management, solid waste, sheriff, noxious weed, road and bridge, elections, treasurers, register of deeds, coroner, appraiser, mental health, district court, clerk, EMS, and the county attorney. Those are unfunded mandates that we have to provide. Now, I could say, okay, well, let's see. We can give the county attorney $1. That's a good budget, right? We'll see what they can prosecute for $1. We can do the same with the sheriff, cut that back. But what about the first time that you get robbed and it takes the sheriff's officer, 2 days to get out there because we don't have any sheriff's officers that are going? That is what we have to look at as commissioners, is what, as far as for the best interest of the public, how do we fund these to what we need them to for you guys? That's the thing. We're not doing it for us. We're doing it for us as taxpayers, but we're looking at the interest of the public, not just for, it's fun, let's just do it. We don't look at the mill levies like that. We don't look at how we fund things like that. We try to keep things under control as far as noxious weed, as far as road and bridge. But as Commissioner Kelly alluded to, when we've gotten 3 increases in gravel in 13 months, that pretty much knocks our budget right out of the water right there when you get that. So, and Charlie, as far as the durability of the rock, as Keith said, we have that documentation that shows it's up to KDOT standards.
Is it the same shell?
So, excuse me?
Is it the same shell? Or is it a different shell?
It's the same. They just had it tested 2 weeks ago. So,
What's the result?
what's the results?
It's on the internet.
It's
You can
I don't
look it up.
have that with me. I'm just saying we do have it tested. So,
Yeah, and we'll hand the mic around to everybody so they can speak as we get going along. Pruitt,
yep, I'm done.
Mark, did you have something? Keith, do you have something you'd like to add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, even with the sheriff's department and road and bridge are our 2 highest budget by far. 4.6 million for the sheriff, 4.8 for the road and bridge, by far the biggest. Is there stuff that we can cut? I believe we can. We can go back and look at that, even at the sheriff. The last person you want to take off is the sheriff, right? But Tim does a good job of trying to keep a slim budget. But is there things we can do? Yeah, they're hard decisions. They're hard conversations too. But I don't have a problem with handling it. Last department head meeting we had, I told everybody in there, be ready, budget's coming, and we're going to have to trim it. I want to be able to give our employees a raise. We didn't give one last year. But my goal is to find a way to give them a raise without raising the budget. I don't know if that's possible, but we're going to look at it. I think it's possible. But there's some hard decisions to be made. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I got a million things I would love to say to that, but we're going to keep on track. It's important.
I know you will.
It's really important. So these next few questions are commissioner specific. The first one is to Mr. Pruitt. Sorry, Mark.
Thank
Mark.
you. Thank you.
Sorry. Oh, thank you. You're awesome. In 2022, then candidate Pruitt stated that the county needs to try to live within its means. I quote, "I believe we've done a decent job working with what we have, and I think we need to stay on path. The people in Jackson County are facing a lot of external pressures on their finances right now, with inflation, increasing food prices, and more. I don't believe now is the right time to consider raising taxes," unquote. Given this statement, how does Commissioner Pruitt feel about his efforts to fulfill candidate Pruitt's vision?
I think that I also stated, and I don't know if it was in that quote there, but I also stated during my campaign when I was going through and talking to people up in the 1st District that my vision for taxes and for mill levies especially, and I learned this back when I was on the school board years and years and years ago, is that I like little increases, little decreases. You can't, if you go along pretty much even keel, you're gonna be a lot better off than if you try to jump 5 mils, drop 5 mils, up 5 mils, down 5 mils. That is not the way to run things. That is absolutely not the way to run things. I think that I'm proud of what we did, what we have done. I would have, the first year I was in, we raised it half a mil, I believe is what it was. And last year we went revenue neutral, and I voted against revenue neutral. I absolutely did. And I will tell you why. Because there's two counties that I'm very familiar with that you ought to be too, because they're neighboring counties. And they've gone revenue neutral since its inception. I believe that one of them raised theirs 8 mils this year because they have no cash reserves left. And that's what happens when you go revenue neutral. You get any unexpected expenses and your cash reserves start going down. Now, I know a lot of people say you don't need that much cash, but there are reasons why we carry over cash like that. And we had two of them after we set the budget this year. One of them was an increase in healthcare costs to us. And the second one was K-Camp, I believe, was it not? Insurance. They both went up significantly. We already had the budget set and we couldn't do anything about it other than spend down our cash reserves. And if we keep on the revenue neutral path, I believe that we will spend our cash reserves down, and then you're going to see a huge increase. And you can remember how all upset you were over the half a mil. If we raised 8 mils, what would you do? I mean, and it's just math, honestly. We just can't do that. That's why I was not in favor of dropping it, the 2 mils, 2.5 mils, whatever it was, to get to revenue neutral this year. And that's why I voted against it. So I think he's going to take questions after. So I believe that's where I'm at. I think that I've done a fairly good job of trying to hold things even and trying to cut where we can. But it's like I said, I'm all in favor of little increase, little decrease. So.
All right, thank you. Go ahead to the question. This question is for Keith Kelly. In 2020, the candidate Kelly stated, "There are several issues plaguing our county like road conditions, high taxes, and spending, with road conditions being at the top," unquote. As commissioner, do you feel like you have cured the plagues that were identified by candidate Kelly?
I don't know that we've cured them, but I think we've taken a big chunk out of it. I can go back and show you 5 years ago when I started, we had a policy at Road and Bridge that we didn't clean ditches. When I took over as commissioner, the 0.4% sales tax had not been spent in that calendar year at all. At all. Why would we collect it if we're not going to put the gravel on the roads, right? So yeah, I think the vision that I, as a commissioner, have tried to give Road and Bridge, customer service, show up, do your job, take care of the items when you see them, when you're blading the road, giving the operators some freedom to do that, cleaning ditches. We haven't cleaned ditches for years. You got to get water off the road, you get water to the creek. There's just no way to keep a road if you're not going to do that. We've cleaned more ditches in the last 5 years than have been done for years. And people go, "Well, I haven't seen my ditch cleaned." I can show you the documentation. We keep records on it. We keep records of where every ton of gravel goes, on what roads, what day it was put on, all that kind of stuff. We're putting millions of dollars in gravel on these roads to try to improve them. One of the things we've done over the last 2 or 3 years is we've taken on large structure projects. So if you have a road like W Road up here, and I know it hasn't gotten done yet, but it is a large project. You have to pull multiple people off to go do that project, but that's a large project that we've done. We've done several of those around the county over the last few years, and putting gravel on where needed. My philosophy is you know, if you can take the gravel and go from stop sign to stop sign, you're much better off. Doesn't always work that way because you have a tendency to run out of money eventually. One of the things I do want to touch on that I really hope people will vote for this. August 4th primary is coming up. Okay. The 0.04% sales tax will be sunsetting at the end of the year. That means if that's not renewed in a sales tax, we're going to have to find just shy of $600,000 annually that is now being brought in through sales tax. Approximately 30% of that is paid for by people who just travel through the community. I'm a big fan of sales tax. The legislature helped us get that. We asked to have it increased from 0.04 to 0.05. And the other piece of that is none of the incorporated cities would get any of that money. Right now, they're getting a portion of that. We're taking it all. That's what we would like to do. If you guys give us permission to do that on August 4th, every bit of that will be used for gravel. We can't use it for anything else. So just like this year, we have taken away any large scale projects. So what we're going to do is all the budget, all the 0.4% sales tax money will be put in gravel and put it on the roads. No large projects.
Thank you. The next question is for Ms. Garrett. Linda? Okay. In 2024, candidate Gerhardt stated, "I believe that maintaining the current tax rate or even lowering it should be our goal. There are certainly opportunities to reduce spending, but we must be cautious not to compromise essential services," unquote. As commissioner, what opportunities do you see to reduce spending within the county government?
I think we're just going to have to look at the different departments and see where we can cut or what we can do, what they can do to help us and you.
Thank you. The next series of questions I think can really be, I'm going to read them all, but I think can really be summed up. You know, the people understand that the county has needs and costs go up and all of those things, but our costs go up too. Right? Our property taxes are up, even if you didn't raise property taxes because of the assessment. My gravel costs are up, my grocery costs are up, they're all up. So with all of that said, the county budget is up 35% since 2021. All of you have said that the county needs to live within its means. Do you think this is living within your means?
Anyone else? That's okay.
I have Linda first on this one.
I don't have a good answer for that.
As far as the up 35%.
And correct me, I thought you said that was from 01, not
No,
2021.
2021, according to the
Thank you.
department, the Kansas Department of Revenue.
Thank you.
The county budget's up 35%.
Okay, I'm going to have to look at that because I can't answer that question. I'm going to have to look into that, okay?
Okay, say it one more time.
Okay, the question is, since 2021, according to the Kansas Department of Revenue, the county budget is up 35%. All of you were quoted, we just read all the three questions, is saying that the county need to live within its means. Do you think this is living within one's means?
No.
Thank you. I love that.
Well, I'm gonna have to
isn't-
look at the numbers. I mean, because I don't have those numbers in front of me.
Well,
It's kind of a, you know, I want to look at the numbers before I make a statement.
the
Okay.
short answer is no for me. It's not living within your means. But what I would say to you, every one of you, if any one of you were sitting up here in these chairs, and someday some of you may, there are things that going into commissioner sounds good. Well, we can cut this, we can cut that, we can do this, we can do that. Then you find out you really can't. You can't operate. I'll give you an example. Road and bridge. It would be very difficult to operate day-to-day operations with the amount of miles. Each blade has about 110 miles that they have to get over with used old equipment. Now, could we save money? Yes. But I'm telling you, folks, we're not set up with a maintenance department, and I don't think we want to afford a maintenance department that can handle used old equipment. My philosophy is you buy new, you never let it come out of warranty, And that way, all the oil changes and that type of stuff, that's taken care of, and you're rolling that over into a new one. But you're close to $435,000 for a blade now. So no, Rowdy, you're right. We're not living within our means. We did last year, but we haven't since then. And one of the other pieces to that was 3 years ago, we gave county employees a huge raise. It wasn't very popular with the community, but folks, in order to be competitive with employees, you have to pay them well. You get a truck driver, get them a CDL, they spend a few years driving that truck, and they can go to work for Bettis or anybody else and make more money. We had to be competitive because you can't turn over employees like we were turning over employees. It just doesn't pencil out. And so, yeah, we gave a huge raise, but we hadn't given raises to employees for years. Some of those things are just, again, I think if anybody was sitting in here, this chair, you're going to do the same thing. Is there always room for improvement? Absolutely. And again, no.
Thank you. Sorry. She keeps smacking me to read the screen. I don't know if you guys know she's three-quarter ninja. Anyway, according to Kansas Department of Revenue, the Jackson County budget has increased 35% since 2021, as we mentioned. In that same time, incomes have only grown 3.9%. Inflation is 19.6% over that same period of time. What are some helpful tips that the commissioners can give the citizens to help them make ends meet?
Helpful what?
Hints to help the citizens make ends meet. I think the point of it is, I'm sorry your costs have gone up. Mine have too. You got to suck it up just like I do. I think it's the moral of the story. But
Sure, and I know I do not disagree with you. I mean, I keep hearing that, I'm on fixed income, and guess what? I'm on a fixed income too. I'm retired on a fixed income, so I know what I'm getting each month, and that's, I have to live with that. So are we cutting back? Sure. We did cut back this last year. Valuations went up last year, and your taxes went up last year. And if I remember right, Christy, correct me if I'm wrong, that the county collected $46,000 more in taxes this year than last year. Is that correct? So yeah, they did go up, but total for the county was $46,000 between last year and this year. So by going revenue neutral, we collected $46,000 more in taxes, and that was it.
Anybody else want to?
Say the question again.
You want the whole question again?
Yeah.
Okay. According to the Kansas Department of Revenue, the Jackson County budget has increased 35% since 2021. In that same time, incomes have grown at 3.9%. Inflation is up 19.6%. What are some helpful tips you can give citizens to help them make ends meet?
Yeah, that just gets into their personal choices, I guess. I don't have.
Would you recommend they live within their means?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But
I mean, I think that's the point.
But does everybody, by show of hands, does everybody in this room live within their means, or do they use credit cards? So, I mean, some do, some don't, right? I think county government, city government, it is difficult when you already have, departments and you have operations already going. It's difficult to cut those back. But I talked to you, I said, there are some things we can do. We can eliminate part of Road and Bridge, and we could sub that work out. Now, if there's anybody from Road and Bridge, Bryson, I see him back there. It is difficult because those are your friends and neighbors that are going to lose their jobs. But at the end of the day, that's our job to make that decision, right? I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you, Keith. I've got probably another 50 questions on this topic, but because I want to get to the audience, we're going to move on to the next topic, which is, there you go. She just keeps snagging me up. Property rights, privacy. This question I had submitted to the commissioners ahead of time. So you guys know there was 11 questions I sent ahead of time because they would require research. This is one of them. Which county officials have the authority to enter private land without consent or warrant?
Excluding law enforcement.
Which county, not law enforcement, which county officials have the authority to enter private land without consent or warrant? Go ahead,
No
Keith.
one, none of them.
Wrong.
Okay, Mark?
I'm saying,
Okay.
I'm saying it's wrong.
I'm saying none of the county officials in Jackson County have the authority to enter your property without a warrant or permission.
Okay, and I looked this up, okay? And I appreciate that you gave this to me so I could do a little research on this. Appraisers and staff do have authority under Attorney General Opinion 82-7, okay? Now, that is not saying that they can just come on. They will try to make contact with you beforehand. They will try. But if they do not make contact with you, they still have the right under Attorney General Opinion 82-7, okay? Weed inspectors. They will try to make contact with you, attempt to notify you that they're coming on to look. That is under KSA 2-1330. Surveyors. After notification, they try to notify you. It's always they try to notify you. The only one that doesn't have to notify you, and that's in case of an imminent threat, is law enforcement. That's it. But the ones that I named right there, yes, after they try to notify you, they have the authority to go on and inspect for, do your outside measurements, take your pictures, whatever, when it comes to the appraisers. And when it comes to the weed folks, they have the authority to come on after they try to notify you and say, we're coming on to look for, sericea, musk thistles, whatever. That's 2-1330. That's under state. So yes, they do.
Linda, do you have any opinion on that?
There is also a state statute out there that county commissioners can authorize by resolution inspections related to zoning, building codes, or infrastructure. That's a state statute.
So there's about 10 questions around this topic, so I'm going to try to get through them the best I can. Do you know, are any of these relying on the open fields doctrine? You know?
No, I mean, I read about it out there.
I read about the open field, but I don't believe that these are relying on that.
Okay, so just to confirm, tax appraisers, county enforcement officials, noxious weed inspectors, and environmental inspectors
We have no enforcement inspectors.
no environmental inspectors,
No, we have environmental inspectors in Northeast Kansas.
but no code enforcement inspectors.
No.
Okay, so what you're saying is tax appraisers, noxious weed inspectors, and environmental inspectors do have the right to enter your property against your consent.
It's not, well, yes,
Yeah,
that would be against your consent, but if you tell them no, then, sorry, from what I did reading, if you tell them no, then what they will end up doing is come back to district court and get a warrant to enter your property to do what they need to do to satisfy the state statutes.
Okay, so there what you're saying is that a landowner can refuse.
They can refuse, and then it would go straight back to district court.
Okay, so again, we'll just leave that one at that. I think that's fine.
Okay.
So I do have one other piece
Go ahead, of course.
to that. So I don't know how many of you realize that the state of Kansas requires that our appraiser goes out and physically inspects 1/6 of all property, all homes in Jackson County every year. By show of hands, how many people knew that? Okay, not very many. So the one thing that you could do to help, those notices just went out Monday to all the people that are going to be inspected. One of the things that you could do as citizens is you could make sure that that's a pleasant thing for the ladies that are going out to do this. They've had dogs turned on them. They've been threatened with guns. You name it. It's a horrible environment, but we have no choice as a county. They have to go out and do this. And so by responding to whatever Kate sends out to you guys would be huge. We have to send 2 people out now. 2 people have to go instead of 1 because of because of the environment that they have to deal with. Right there, that's going to save you money if we could only send one. But it's the environment that they have to deal with. They don't like doing it. They're going to come on, they're going to take measurements, they're going to take pictures. Other than that, that's it. All they're doing is updating. State mandated. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, of course. I don't think the issue is whether we should play nice. I think the issue is private property a fundamental right, or is it a privilege granted by government? At the end of the day, this is what the question's asking, right?
Sure. And so I will say this, at the end of the day, what you need to do if you don't like that is take it up with the state, because we have to follow the state laws on that. We have to follow the state mandates on that. If we don't, if Kate does not go out and do her appraisals and have everything done by a certain date and get everything finished, then we get fined. So we're in a catch-22. I mean, you know, all I can say again is if you don't like what's going on there, talk to your state representatives and see if you can get that changed, because we're just following what's, I mean, is that not right, Sean? We're just following what the state's telling us to do. And so that's all we can do. So.
Well, actually, the next question kind of lines right up into what you were talking about. So for these county officials that you guys have said have the right to come on without consent, where does this authority come from? And you're saying it comes from the state?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I think that's, sorry. There we go. Okay. I love this question. And I didn't ask this question, but I would have. I think it's insane. Why do you guys require an estimate of material costs from Menards or Home Depot? This is insane. I'm a business owner, and if you wasted my employees' time and energy so that I could meet a permit requirement from the county, I would be so angry. Why do you guys do that? That can't be legal. Go ahead, Keith.
Roddy and I have had this conversation many times. Yeah. I agree with you. I think it's a waste of time. I asked a few weeks ago, my thought is, why waste time? $5 a square foot, whatever that number is, and that's what it's going to cost to build it. I don't need you to give me an idea, right? It can be much simpler. The process can be. I'll get into more later, but.
Mark, Linda, you guys have a comment?
I don't think that we need an itemized list. I don't think when I built my shop, when I built my garage, I just went in and gave them a total that it was going to cost, rough total, and that was what it was. I don't think that we need an itemized list of what you're spending on that. So,
well, Mark, with all due respect, that might be how it works for you.
Well, this was long.
I'm telling you, you walk in there, they want an itemized list, and they want you to go waste a private business, their money to do this. I mean, this is bad. This is bad.
And I agree with you. 100%. When I built my shop and garage 20 years ago and 15 years ago, that I just went in and said it's going to cost approximately X amount of dollars, because that was what it was going to be for the building permit. So, I mean, that was how it went.
We talked about trying to make things simpler, but
Yeah, I think, one great way that the county can go about making costs less is to make the process simpler. We should be able to do permits on a postcard. We should be able to do things simple and easy. We don't need all this big government growing and growing and more departments and more things. Make it simple and you'll make the cost go down.
I agree. I would agree with you, Rowdy, and I have one other comment, if you don't mind.
Of course not.
So I know there's been some talk, and we as a commission are talking about moving the zoning out of the appraiser's office. 15, 20 years ago, that was a 2-department thing. When Kate came in, she took on both roles. She does a really good job, but she is overwhelmed with all of that. Again, I'm a big proponent of customer service. We are choosing to hire a zoning administrator, not to create more government or bigger government, but to give better customer service. That zoning person will go through our zoning regulations and make recommendations back to us to simplify the process. Again, I think we can go through that book cover to cover and figure out things that will make it easier for the taxpayers and the citizens to be able to build buildings, streamline the process, and smile while you're doing it. Smile, have them smile at you while they're helping you. There are a lot of things that we can do. And Rowdy and I have had many conversations, and he's come up with some good ideas. I don't have a problem with people giving us ideas. Love to have some of those, but that's the reason we're moving that department into its own department, so that that individual can give better customer service. And at the end of the day, that's what we need.
Thank you. This is the last question on this topic, and we'll move on because, again, we want to make sure there's plenty of time for everybody to speak. Is it legal for the sheriff, county officials, or any private individual to fly in a drone over a property without a warrant?
I have no idea. That's above my pay grade.
You would have to ask Sheriff about that. I have no idea, or the county attorney. I have no idea.
Okay.
Are we directing, are we answering?
Well, hand it, when you want to answer it, go ahead. I mean, because it was
Yeah,
directed.
yeah, when you say we, or you say we're doing it, to my knowledge, the only department that owns a drone would be the sheriff's department. The county does not own a drone.
I got a letter.
I'd love to see that letter,
But
because,
that wasn't from a drone, that's a flyover.
yeah, that's not a drone, ma'am. So just to give you an idea of what that is 4 years ago, we hired an agency to come in. Let me back up. We were going to be in a position where we had to hire a full-time employee to go out and do some inspections. Instead of doing a full-time employee, we hired this agency to take a plane and fly over every square foot of Jackson County. They produce high-res photos, and the name of the software is, thank you, Eagle View. And what Eagle View does is it recognizes when there's been a change. So if, on your home, if you put a 800 square foot addition on it, 3 years later, it's going to recognize that, and it's going to show that to that individual, so that they know that that's been there, so that all these things that are put into place at the appraiser's office and doing this updating is so that everybody shares in the equal amount of property tax. When somebody builds a building and doesn't get a building compliance permit, they're not paying their portion of what everybody else is. So that's why we did it, and it saved the county money. That's why we do physical inspections. Yeah, that's the best I can answer that question.
Yeah, I think this is not on here, but as far as the Eagle View thing goes, Keith, those pictures, I know I went and got my property card and I went through it. They can read your license plate. So they're not just looking at it from 30,000 feet and taking pictures. It is close up. It's from every side. It's from every angle, and it's the truth.
I would agree. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
They can.
Moving on to the next category is alternative energy. And first question is, and we'll start with Linda. Linda, what is the county's policy to ensure alternative energy projects do not negatively impact agricultural lands?
You mean the comprehensive plan?
It says, what's the count? Again, I'm reading, they submitted them to me, so.
The planning committee is working on a comprehensive plan right now.
They can't hear you.
The planning committee is working on the comprehensive plan right now. I don't have a good answer for it, sorry.
Okay, any?
As far as the ensuring that wind and solar are alternative energy, and nuclear also, do not negatively impact agricultural land, number one, we just got, right now, we have to follow a comprehensive plan, which if you've read much on the agricultural in the comprehensive plan, it really doesn't say a whole heck of a lot. Okay. But as far as this topic right here for solar and wind and nuclear, I can't speak on that right now. And I'll tell you why. We don't have any regulations in front of us. The Planning Commission still has the regulations. The Planning Commission is still working on the regulations. As soon as we get them, then I can speak on the subject. But I don't know what is in the regulations that they're working on. We passed a template to them 6 months, has it been 2 years ago, whatever, year ago, something like that. And they're working on those, working through them. They're not rushing them. We don't want them to rush them. We want them to get a good understanding of what they're doing and how they're doing it and what their vision is for that. As soon as we get them back to us, as soon as they pass them and get them back to us, then we can go through them and make changes back and forth for, how negotiations on that goes and come up with a solid set of regulations for these. But right now, I can't speak on anything as far as the regulations go, as far as for agricultural land, because I don't have anything to look at.
And you said to preserve.
Yeah, the question is, what is the county's policy to ensure alternative energy projects do not negatively impact agricultural land?
Regulation. So if regulation is done correctly, I don't care what it is, it will help preserve it. I think, again, nuclear is the way to go because it has a smaller footprint. I'm not a huge fan of renewable energy. I think it's anytime you have subsidized something so heavily, it doesn't make sense. But I also don't trust the company that's trying to put that here. And I've said that before. Comprehensive plan. I just want to read you something in the very front, chapter 1, introduction, planning and processes. This comprehensive plan was written 24 years ago, something like that, by a group of probably 8 or 10 people. Jackson County Comprehensive Plan serves as a guide for planned and orderly growth of unincorporated regions of the county outside the areas, cities, and beyond territory of Perry Band Potawatomi Nation. It's a guide. It does not hold us, it's not statutory. We don't have to follow this. Is it a good thing to look at it? Yeah. But, it comes down to everybody wants their rights for their property when they want their rights for their property, right? Farmers will say, I don't want to see people move in and buy up land and build a house on it. But when that farmer's ready to retire, they want every penny they can get out of that ground, right? And if that means building a house on it, they don't care. Not every farmer, but there has to be balance in that.
Thank you. The next question, and kind of might as well keep with you because you already started with it.
Way to go.
Are the commissioners still in favor of industrial solar?
No. Short answer.
I am in favor of anything that will fit into the regulations, and it's already been stated. I will tell you right now, I will not vote for anything that is over 2,000 acres. It keeps being told that, it's 5,000 acres, and by God, that's what they want, and blah, blah, blah. I don't care what they want. And they've stated to us that 2,000 acres isn't enough. They can't do it for 2,000 acres. They want 5, they want 10, they want this, they want that. I don't care. That's not my problem. If you cannot, any business that comes into the county, if they cannot fit their business model, their business plan into our regulations, whatever those regulations are, because like I said, I haven't seen them. But if they cannot fit their business plan into our regulations, then they can move down the road. That's all there is to it. I'm not going to bend over backwards for something that can't fit into what this group and the planning commission has decided that would be best for the county. So that's it.
Thank you. Linda?
Solar all came about before I took office. I actually hoped it would be settled before I came into office, but it wasn't. So, but no, I am not for solar.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Rowdy, so when you and I did the podcast here a while back, I talked about one of the reasons that I just don't think it fits this community. It may other communities, But I told you in that podcast, I said, you asked me, what did I most dislike about this whole thing? And I said, it's that neighbors don't drive down the road and wave at neighbors anymore because they're pissed off at each other.
Yeah.
Right? I don't like that. I don't think that's good for our community. I really don't. I just don't think it works. Do I think nuclear does? I do. And I think there's a lot of people in this community that think that it will. And I'm not gonna beat around the bush. It's gonna have to be in Western Jackson County. And I know there's folks from Western Jackson County here, but it's got to be in proximity to Jeffrey Energy Center. Otherwise, it doesn't work. We can't put it on the east side by Jeff County. It won't work. TerraPower won't, they're not going to run transmission lines clear across the county. But we've got to have something. If this community, if you want your kids and your grandkids to be able to afford to live in this county, you've got to help us with this. You've got to walk through it with us.
Keith, I love what you said about neighbors waving to neighbors. I mean, I think that's why we want to do these meetings like this and why we come together, is because at the end of the day, we all live together, right? Right. So the next question is, can you provide, and this is probably a short answer, but can any of you provide any more information about the nuclear plant?
No.
Probably not.
I will, the only additional information I have is that our state representatives, our state senator, and Sean, you can maybe speak to this. I don't know if you've been, I don't think you sit on the committee, but Craig Bowser, our state senator, has been phenomenal to work with. He is a good man. He understands nuclear. He wrote a paper on nuclear. He's a military man. He understands how to get things done. He lives right here in Holton, or in the Holton area. He has been wonderful to work with. He's got our back. He is working, helping us. He sees division and wants to help us make this happen. But I think again, it's going to take community buy-in. I mean, TerraPower is going to want to know that the community wants this and that they're buying into it. Have no idea. No, I shouldn't say I have no idea, because I guess I do to a certain extent. So I was told by Department of Commerce sometime in February, which we're past that, they're starting to look at sites. Folks, counties who have said, hey, we're in, consider us. We're one of those counties. I'm not sure at this point whether they're going to reach out to us, but here's what I've been told that they will do. They want to have conversations with you all before they make a decision, which is backwards to the way NextEra did theirs. They came in and started leasing up property before they ever had a conversation with the community. And I think that's a good thing. I think that they want to come in and they want to answer your questions. They want to find out what you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking about nuclear. Why? What is it? What are those questions? I know Rowdy has already reached out to a nuclear.
Yeah, Matt actually is the lead on that, but talked to one of a
Thank you, Matt.
professor at K-State.
Okay.
That they have a nuclear reactor to learn more.
Yeah. And so we talked about having another one of these where that individual, that gentleman can come here and speak and ask questions. You can ask questions. And I appreciate you doing that. That's what it takes, is the community being informed. So
We're on the west side.
what's that?
We're on the west side of county and put it.
Don't know. They have to. So what they'll do is they'll come in and they'll look for a property and a property owner, and they're going to, if they feel like that's the best place to put it, they're going to come in and ask a property owner, would you be willing to sell your property to put this in? They're going to look at the site based on location, I assume. I'm not in that business. I'm just kind of guessing how logically would you do it.
Would it be safe to say that they have not contacted you? They haven't been here.
No,
They've never
no,
toured
no.
the county. There's
No.
no plans currently in
No.
place. This is just on your wish list.
It is just on a wish list. Bill Gates is the founding. Yeah, he is. Yeah, I get it. He is funding this. It's a company that was created. It's a new type of nuclear. Yeah,
Yeah, Bill Gates owns about 70% and Korea Hydro owns pretty much the rest of it.
yeah. I don't know, man. You'd have to ask him. I don't know.
All right, guys, we're going to move along to other, I skipped one of the departments, Road and Bridge. I hope we get back to it, but I really want the people to be able to be heard. I think it's the most critical part of this. So I have 3 questions and then we will get on to the audience. The first question is, and you kind of talked about this already a little bit. How are the commissioner's actions in line with the comprehensive plan to grow agriculture in Jackson County? Go ahead, Keith.
To grow agriculture?
The comprehensive plan talks about growing agriculture. So,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, I don't know that there's anything that from the county level that we can do to grow agriculture. You know, we try to find a balance of the way we allow people, or not allow, but the regulations for building and that type of stuff. But again, it's their property. They can do with it what they want. You know, at the end of the day, one of the things I wanted to do to find that balance was to allow, in the southern end of the county at least, there's a lot of opportunity for growth. People want to move from the Shawnee County Topeka area into Jackson County. Southern end of the county has plenty of water. We could add about 900 residential houses because we have that much water. But changing that, I tried to change it to three acres because a lot of people don't want more than 3 acres, and it got a lot of pushback. So maybe because of that pushback, what we do is we look at a mile circle around an incorporated city. Maybe it's only Hoyt. Maybe it's only Mayetta. If the north end of the county doesn't want it, great. But let's at least have the conversation. I think there can be a balance.
Mark, anything to add? Linda, you have anything to add? You don't?
I'm kind of with Keith. I'm kind of befuddled how the county could grow agriculture in the county other than try to entice, an agriculture related business. But that there again, that's kind of tough to do. And, if we ever had that opportunity, then, we can do that.
I do have one thing that we have had a real conversation. We applied for a $32 million grant from the federal government to take our some of our chip and seal roads, like I'm going to use 110th as an example, all the way over to Delia. If we could pave that road, 6 inches of pavement, the entire route, that would give farmers access to a main road to get out to 75 highway or 63 highway, right? To haul their grain in. I'd love to get that grant. We can't get the grant though, because we apply for it. And we have done all the engineering. We had an opportunity 5 years ago to spend $5,000 and get $46,000 worth of engineering done. We had all that done for $5,000. We were able to turn that over to go with this grant. That would be something that would really, I think, help the farming community to be able to take their 80,000 pound trucks to a hard surface road to another hard surface road without having to beat up the county roads.
When we talk about agriculture, have you guys given any thought to things like regenerative farming and taking the poison out of our foods? Like growing healthy food?
I think it's a great
I
idea.
think it's a great idea.
I mean, let's push
But
that.
let's be real on a county level.
Mhm.
How do we do that?
Well, I do it every day. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's.
That's on a personal level.
That's how you do it. Want to go out to nature, get out of the harm's way, and don't nitpick us with zoning.
So tell me so Matt, tell me specifically how we can get out of your way. Specifically. I need to know specifically. Yes. With all due respect.
You guys seem to go to me and say, well, they gotta ask permission, they gotta ask permission, they gotta ask.
Hey, Matt, how about I bring you the mic? Well, I'll be right there.
No,
2 questions, and I'll
specifically.
be right there.
Specifically what, I need specifics. Yeah. What, you didn't say,
Because I'll have to pay the county so much money for this chicken barn, they're gonna bring me 10 or 15.
you don't have to pay for it. You're talking about a building permit?
All right, guys, we're gonna hand the mic around in
Yeah.
just 2 questions.
Yeah.
Okay, I promise.
Yeah.
I might even take a break.
I
for you
just
guys.
need
Everybody back.
specifics.
Okay. All right, next question is what efforts are being made to improve the county's relationship with the tribe?
Great question. Great question. I love that.
Go ahead, Keith.
Oh.
You love it? You're up, buddy.
Hey. Okay. We have tried to meet with the tribe on many occasions. And it is to the point now because we are asking, simply because we are asking the federal government to give us the same money that Royal Valley School District gets, which is impact aid money. That's the same money we deserve as a county. I made an appointment with the tribal council. Actually, back up. I made an appointment with the tribal chair. That's who I thought I was going to meet with. Because our federal partner, Roger Marshall, said, you need a letter from the tribe that says they support my legislation. I said, really? We need a letter from them to support federal legislation? All right, I'll meet with them. I go out there, it was an entire tribal council. I'm all by myself. Okay, let's talk. Here's what they wanted me to do. They said, you eliminate your sheriff off our reservation, we'll sign your letter. I said, I can't do that. Doesn't work that way. We'll cut his budget until he does. I said, we don't play those games. Doesn't work that way. I said, this legislation will help you and your tax. Most of the tribal members pay taxes because they own their property. I think it's horrible. And at the end of the day, when I left that meeting, I knew I wasn't getting anywhere. I went home and I penned a letter, and I still have it in my computer to this day. And I sent it to the tribal chair, and I said, I can't change what happened over the last 250, 300 years. I can't change that. And I said, Zeke, you can't change that either. But what we can do, and I'm passionate about this because what we can do is we can leave this community better than it was. We can change moving forward. We can make things better for their community and our community if we work together. But they don't want to work together. Not the people, the tribal council. They want to walk all over us. And it ticks me off because we should be able to sit down across the table with a cup of coffee and have a conversation and figure out civil discourse and have our conversation and figure out where we can work together.
Mark, Leonard, do you have a further comment on that? No?
I think that covered it.
Okay. This is kind of leading into it. Keith, you said that the south part of the county can support 900 new homes for water. And the question says, why is the county refusing water to the tribe? Are we running low?
We are not refusing. And I sat on that board. I've sat on the Rural Water District #1 for 23 years. We are not refusing water to the tribe. I don't know how else to say it. Matt and I had this conversation about 3 weeks ago. We have a standard agreement. If Matt comes to me and says, I need a line extension a quarter of a mile down the road, great, Matt, here's the contract. You sign it saying you'll pay for it. And the Rural Water District retains ownership of the infrastructure. That's the way it's been done since 1967, 68, when it became a water district. They didn't want to sign that. They sent it to all their lawyers and started changing things. Under good conscience and on advice from our attorney, we couldn't sign their contract because of all the changes they made. They wanted to take, if they paid for a line extension, they wanted to own it. Anytime water lines went into the reservation, they owned them. Well, it doesn't work that way. And so after 2 years of trying to work with them, we'd hear from them and it was an important thing, and then it was crickets for months. And then finally, we were a day and a half away from signing a contract at Bartlett and West Engineering. And I was headed to that meeting. And we finally had a contract we could all live with. We get a letter in the mail saying they're going to start charging all public utilities a franchise fee. Are you kidding me? So Jackson 3 up here, they're going to get charged a $10,000 franchise fee. And they have to it's just crazy the stuff's in there. And our attorney called and said, we're out. We can't do this. We're not going to play this way. So I'd love to serve them water, but it has to be the contract that we do with everybody. It has to be fair and equitable.
Thank you for that. We're going to move.
I got one thing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So
Sorry.
one thing that you have to realize is the question that Rowdy asked was, why isn't the county giving them water? We have nothing to do with rural water. That's a separate entity. We don't have anything to do. We don't go to rural water and say, don't give the tribe water. We have nothing to do with them, for heaven's sakes. That's a separate entity, a separate business altogether. So just so hope folks understand that.
Great point. Hey, it's 8:26 at my time. Let's take just a pause so the restroom, anybody need to go anywhere to do that? Everybody okay? Anybody want to take a break? Yeah, no? No? Okay, we're just going to truck along.
I want to get to their question.
Yeah, let's truck along. So we're going to get on to the audience. We have Joe in the background. Joe, raise your hand back there. And we have Mike in the front. Got a mic. If you just raise your hand, they're going to bring the mic to you. And Matt DeVader, we promised him the mic.
Good evening. My name's Carrie Wabunzi O'Toole. I grew up in Hoyt, Kansas. Most of you, if you're older, would know my mom and dad, Will and Drusa Wabunzi. And I raised my kids out here on Mayetta. And I'm going to read about the economic impact of the Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation from 2023. The Prairie Band Potawatomi Nation's assertion of sovereignty bringing economic growth to the reservation in northeast Kansas. We have contributed over $357 million total impact in Kansas. We have 3,175 jobs we've provided for Kansans. We've had $20 million in state and local taxes we have paid. The Prairie Band Potawatomi Nations are part of the casino, the other tribal enterprises in the government that turn the off-reservation economy for goods, services, and labors unattainable on the reservation. Because we are actually a food desert out there on the reservation because we don't have our own grocery store. So we have to go to spend our money in Jackson County, which has a lower tax rate than it is in Shawnee County if you buy your goods in Shawnee County. And so we also have a long-term commitment to Northeast Kansas where we were forced to come to live because we had a 30-mile by 30-mile reservation, which got bought out for railroad land. And then we've had the 11 by 11 mile reservation because of hard times and economics. People sold their land to other people. So we now are considered a checkerboard reservation. So that is why we are buying our land back it was sold because people couldn't afford to live when they sold their land to people that were non-tribal. So that was part of our goal as a reservation and as a tribe to buy our land back. We have local investments. We are having agricultural on our reservation. We're building a food sovereignty building. We also have the LLC with the ag, with the hemp product. So we do provide that. We don't have as many tribal members that do some of the agricultural. They don't raise the cattle, they don't farm, they don't ranch. So we rely on our other neighbors, our fellow Jackson County people to do that. And because we have gotten away from that way of life. And you did talk about impact aid because that was part of the school thing for the loss of funds that the school did. Well, years ago, what it is, the state government and the federal government give money to the school district for their students because there's a loss of taxes from our students that live on trust land. It was given back by the federal government to our school districts. There is two types of children. There is children on trust land, or their parents work for trust or government, federal government, or they're military kids. Because we are the Indian impacted schools, we get a higher rate of students than they do for the military kids like they do in Fort Riley or Leavenworth or anywhere else. We have military people like from Forbes, works at Forbes or anything else. And for years, Senator Bob Dole blocked how much money was going to come back to our school districts from the state, which finally got released in what year, in the last 5 years? But we have, with those impact aid dollars, we pay for our students to be bused home after school. I don't know, probably when Keith and I and some of the other ones were growing up, we didn't have after-school busing. You had to wait for your parents to bring you home. Because we have this after-school busing, our kids can participate in extracurricular activities. I think Royal Valley has about, 67% of kids participate in extracurricular activities. We also use this to pay for tutoring for our students. We also pay for our singers and dancers. So we do give back to our community. We spend our tax dollars in our Jackson County, in our Northeast Kansas, and it is tough to have that land go back into trust, but this was land that we had, that we were given because we were forced to live here. So that is the hardest part for us. But you talked about that agricultural and them going on that paved road. Well, that paved road is 158th Road, and who maintains that? The Prairie Band Potawatomi Tribe.
With federal dollars, Carrie. Don't fool it. Don't anybody be fooled in here. Those roads are paved with federal dollars and state dollars.
We maintain those roads. How many roads has the tribe taken over from Jackson County Road and Bridge, because we have taken part of those roads over because Jackson County was not able to maintain those, correct?
There is
some
some
roads that we
it wasn't
work
because
together.
they weren't able to maintain them. It was because you guys, at
We
some
did a better
point,
job.
you created a road and bridge department, and when you did, the Bureau of Indian Affairs said, these are the roads that will be maintained. So Carrie, I appreciate what you're saying. Will was my Cub Scout leader, as a matter of fact, your dad.
Correct?
Will was in my class, little Will.
Right. But
What I'm trying to say, Carrie, is that you've proved my point with the impact aid. This county needs that same impact aid.
I know.
Because we created all the roads out there when they were established on the section lines. We maintained them for years. And yes, the tribe has taken over some. That, Carrie, is exactly where I think the partnership can be. Where's the balance? But this impact aid to the county, because yes, the tribe,
It doesn't even exist anymore, does it?
not yet. That's why we wanted the
No, for anywhere
legislation.
in it, of the other counties or states, it doesn't exist, correct? Because we were just as poor without our own economic development. We had to buy state-owned equipment to maintain our roads before we got the economic development to run our own roads. We have a graveyard of old equipment, of land equipment to run our roads. We were buying used blades to do this stuff. The military depot, we have done things. And when you talked about the chair not meeting with you individually, because he is just one person, he doesn't have the vote. If he wants to have anything to happen, he should work with the other council members to meet with you. When I was on tribal council, we did meet with our county commissioners. We had a different relationship that is currently happening right now.
And I wish we did meet more often.
And that has happened throughout our history with the tribal police department and Jackson County. It's just another thing where it has lack of communication and understanding with each other has not
But
happened.
again, Carrie, the only way a county can receive money is either through property tax or sales tax. That's not something that the tribal buildings and the lands that are being put into USA Trust, they don't produce anything. But this legislation, which doesn't have anything to do with you or any other tribal member, it will benefit you, because most of the tribal members still own property and pay property tax, right?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean,
It would
there
benefit-
are some, but there's not a lot that
It
don't.
would benefit.
Chief, we need to move on. There's a lot of people in line. So, yeah, can we take a mic to somebody else, please? Matt?
Anybody on this side have a question? For the commissioners, anybody?
We're here. Rex?
Hello, and thank you for all being here. Are you guys open to a Doge committee? And would you be open to us, a committee or a few citizens like myself to come in and go over the budget with you whenever you're setting up the budget? I'd like to be on a Doge committee for the county. And then number two question really quick, is Kate going to receive a decrease in pay whenever you take this department away from her and decreases her work? Answer, please.
As far as a Doge committee, you have asked several times to come up during budget and talk. I mean, since I've been on the committee, since I've been on the commission, and I've never seen you up there other than at the budget hearing, the budget meetings that we have with all the. Well, like I said, I'm not sure what you're going to gain by a Doge committee. You want to come up and talk about the budget, you're perfectly able to do that.
One thing is that on August 19th of 2025, a check was issued for $95,000, was paid to a Pass County employee who was wrongfully terminated. And my question to you folks is, what training have you received so that doesn't happen in the future?
As far as what?
Have you
There's
taken
county
any-
employees
So
that- Go ahead.
the
You take any
employee,
human rela-
the employee sued the county for wrongful termination. Have you ever been through one of those?
He got paid.
Yeah, you know who paid him?
Insurance company.
We did not.
Your insurance company paid him, and now our insurance rates went up $41,000 a year, and
And
now you're paying out $496,000 a year in
Rex, can I
liability.
finish explaining it?
Sure.
Okay, so we did not want to pay because we knew we had not done anything wrong. But as insurance companies do, they go, it's easier and cheaper for us to write him a check. You don't have a choice in it.
You're saying nothing was done wrong? You're saying the termination was not wrongfully done and the insurance company paid anyway? And our insurance went up $41,000 a year. Now we're paying $496,000 a year in property or liability insurance, correct?
That's exactly what they did.
All right, who else has a question? Right here, we're right, oh, no, this guy over here was next, sorry. I see you in the front row. Got my eyes on you.
To kind of follow along with O'Toole Wabunsi's comment on the road and bridge taxes, property taxes, is it incorrect or correct to say that probably 60-70% of the reservation currently is owned by non-tribal members that pay taxes?
I don't know what the percentage is.
I couldn't.
Ma'am,
answer the
do you know?
percentage,
I don't know what the percentage is. There's a difference between tribally owned in USA Trust
Okay.
and privately owned.
Okay, so let's just say 40% of that 11 square miles is owned by non-tribal members, which means the county gets tax money for property taxes for that land. Can we agree on that?
It's 50%, 33,000, there's 77,000 square or 77,000 acres out there.
So, how much money does the county spend on roads in that area?
The
Because
same
I
as we
think
do in-
there's 5 roads. Well, there may be 10 miles of road within that square that the county maintains.
10 miles of road?
Yeah, that's not
Yeah,
true.
that's not true.
Then how many miles is it? Am I off by 20 miles?
I don't know. I don't have the maps in front of me, but we have a map that
Okay.
shows all the
Okay.
miles.
But there's quite a few miles that the tribe maintains themselves with no income from the county.
Say that again.
there are several miles that the tribe maintains of road that is not subsidized by the county, even though there is county or taxpayers paying in that live on those roads.
Right, that was an agreement worked out with prior commissioners.
Correct.
Prior commissioners, they developed a road and bridge department.
Yes.
They said, we want to take over these roads. The prior commissioners in, I don't know what year it was,
Then-
they said, so let me finish. They said, okay, you can take over these roads. Okay? And so that means that the county had less roads to maintain.
Mhm.
Okay?
Then why is the county having issues maintaining roads when they have more taxpayers paying in on less roads?
They're not.
Have you been on the county roads in
I
the
have.
last week?
I have.
Where's that money going and what services are they getting? other
So
than-
it's still, Jackson County isn't just one department, road and bridge.
No.
We have multiple departments that ad valorem tax pays, right? Okay, so I guess I don't know where you're going with this question, because we still maintain some of the roads on the reservation.
Okay.
A lot of the roads on the reservation are paved.
No,
There's a fair amount of roads on the
there's
reservation that are
probably
paved.
20 miles that's paved out
Yeah.
of 100 or so.
Okay. Fair enough.
So the other question that goes along with the rock is you mentioned earlier that you had the test results for that rock. Is there anybody within the county that actually understands how to read those results?
You can go to Road and Bridge, our Public Works Director, or Joe Gardner, who is our superintendent, can walk you through them.
So they know what Atterberg limits are. They know what the liquid limits are. They
Yeah.
know what
I
LA wear tests are.
can't answer that question.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't handle day-to-day operations
I
either.
understand that, but you guys are in agreement with Bettis to pay for that rock. And if the county doesn't know what they're getting for that rock, why are we buying it from them?
Where would you suggest we buy it?
Somebody that'll actually give us a decent ledge of rock, being that rock was denied in 1995 by the current commissioners at that time because it was too soft.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. All I know is they opened up a quarry and it's tested and it meets KDOT standards. So
Half of the ledge means
it used to cost, so we would haul gravel from Big Springs, cost us $250,000 in trucking to get it up here,
Yeah,
just to get it up here.
but how much
I
of
don't
that
have an answer
$250,000
for
are you
your
spending
question.
on rock that won't stay?
Thank you. Right here in the front row is next, right here. I got you back there. Right here in the front row. Right here, front row, right here. And then Joe, all the way in the back is next.
I just had a question.
There you
Okay, oh, there you are.
Eagle View that's flying over and zooming in and can see everything, is that an American-owned company?
I couldn't answer that. I'm not sure.
Okay, I heard, and I don't know if it's true, that it was actually owned by a Mideastern country. And I wonder if it's wise to have all of our information and plating and everything like that.
So the only thing, it's an airplane with high-res photography and they send it to us. Other than that, nobody has access to our software at the county level.
No, but they do.
No, they don't.
The people taking the pictures from the planes don't have access to the data?
No.
How do they get it to you?
It comes in and goes into they insert it into the software. But other than that, it's not like they have access on a day-to-day basis where they can go in and look at it, not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
And I'll be glad to check who owns
They
it.
are.
Okay,
We'll check it
They are
out.
foreign.
because there was a concern that, that really seems dangerous to let a foreign country have all of our information.
If that's true.
It
If
is
that's
true.
true. Yeah,
If that's true.
I just wondered. Huh? It probably is true.
Thank you.
We are not the only county that they do this for.
Yeah.
And it.
Okay. Thank you. Back there in the back, and then Joe, right here in the front row. Go ahead, thank you.
When you talk about the tribe not contributing, do the residents that live within the reservation and around it benefit from the tribal fire department, ambulance service, tribal police if requested?
Okay, we did not say that the tribe was not a functional, a viable part of the community. I don't think anybody up here said that. No,
No.
nobody ever said that.
No, I think,
No,
I think
no,
no, that's not what I'm
That's
saying.
not what we're saying, sir.
Can I explain? Okay, I appreciate your question. It's a really good question, because yes, I think there are lots of ways we can work with your fire department, with your police department. What I'm saying is, it's not that you're not contributing, you are. It's the federal government that owes this county that money. Does that make sense? So Carrie brought up impact aid. That money all comes from the federal government. Okay? That's to reimburse the school district for lost property tax. Right, Carrie? Okay. That's all we're asking for to help county services. Not, I don't want any of your tribal money. I don't want any of your casino money. I don't want anything from you. And I think it would make our relationship much better. I think we could work together on road projects and make life better for both communities. Because at the end of the day, all roads lead into the reservation, right? And we've got to find a way to work together. It has nothing to do with you or any other tribal member. I please understand that. Some of my best friends, my brother-in-law is Native American. So it has nothing to do with the people. My fight is with the federal government. And that money it would be huge for not only the county, but the tribe also, because we would be able to help with, right now, there's 10 bridges out on the reservation right now. We did not build those bridges, but we are paying $53,000 to have those bridges inspected, because the state of Kansas, again, requires that we have those bridges inspected. And there's one of them that is probably going to fail inspection because of the head wall. That's $1 million bridge. Right. And you are correct, Carrie. They were rebuilt. But Carrie, they haven't been inspected in 10 years. And so the Bureau of Indian Affairs says, they're yours, but we got to inspect them. And so that's the partnership that I think we can work together. But I can't get anybody to sit down with me. You don't hear that? Not from me.
No, sir. I believe that I stated at the start that our argument is not with the tribe. The tribe is doing everything that they are legally able to do. I stated that at the start.
You've never heard that from me.
Never.
Ever.
Our argument is with the federal government. We
Not
didn't say
you.
you are not paying your fair share of the taxes. Once
The
again, you're
federal
doing
government.
everything you're legally
It's
able to do.
Yeah, 100% agree. 100% agree.
All right.
100% agree with you, sir.
All right, thank you. Go
But
ahead.
wouldn't it be nice if we could work together and figure out a solution? I think we can.
Yeah. Go ahead, right here in the front.
So I have,
Come on, Alan.
so I have two
questions. First, we went through a lot of property tax, and probably mostly everybody in here hates property tax. It's a vile tax.
Yep.
It gives us we have no freedoms in that tax. We don't get a choice. It's demanded of us. We never own, we pay rent. You guys pay rent. It is what we all hate. There's a bill called SB 488 on the House floor. It is a bill to eliminate property tax. I don't think it has any legs, but you know what? You need to call your representatives. You need to call them whether it goes anywhere or not. So we can answer all those questions and save tons of money by getting rid of property tax. You don't have an appraiser. You don't have all that money going out the door. Do a surcharge like what they're talking. It would eliminate it. It'd be a sales tax. Everybody chooses when you pay sales tax.
Let's do it. I'm game.
The other thing is, yes, March 10th is when it is. Everybody come. We need to do it. Okay, I didn't think I'd ever see it in my lifetime. They put a bill to get rid of property tax. This ought to excite everybody. Get rid of the shit. I'm tired of it. Anyway, the next thing, can you explain the R&R? Because most people probably don't understand.
Revenue neutral.
That's right.
Linda, it's your turn. I talked too much. No.
Can the clerk do it?
Revenue neutral is simple. It was a law. It was a resolution law, whatever the state did. They said, counties, if you're not going to be revenue neutral, meaning if you're not going to operate on the same budget you did in 24, in 25, then you have to send out a notice to every taxpayer and let them know that you're going to raise it. Here's the problem with that. We set budget by the end of August or first part of August. We don't get our insurance premium increase until October. That's 90-some thousand increase this year. Revenue neutral, I understand what Karen Tyson was the big push on this. And I respect her for what she was trying to do.
Transparency.
Right. But it ends up costing us $10,000 in postage to send all those out. We tried to have a meeting where every department head was in the courthouse, and we were there early in the afternoon till late in the evening, so people who worked could come in and we could have a real conversation, line item by line item, Rex, line item by line item. And you know how many people showed up year one?
Yeah, but look how many people are here now.
I know. And we did. And so we're going to keep doing them. And I hope people come in so that we can sit down with that budget. I wish school districts would do that. It would be interesting to have school districts do that.
I think we should have a school district town hall meeting.
There you go.
So does that mean you're in? I'm talking about one ran by the people, not by your procedures that don't let us talk at a meeting. Please and thank you. I'd love to do it.
Thank you for the question.
You're in. I'm holding to it. Okay, sorry. Right here. Hey, but while he's walking the mic over there, don't forget, guys, there's an email sign up if you want to be kept in the loop of these town hall meetings and those things. Please sign up for it because it'll just make the whole process a lot easier.
Yeah, we're
Okay, go
talking about the budget on the gravel and lowering the budget. What is behind graveling the minimum maintenance roads when gravel is such a high commodity? Why are we graveling minimum maintenance roads that there's not a house on?
Where are we grabbing?
Yeah, specific.
Over off of 166 by graveling the house.
166 past your house?
Yeah. Go to 166 over to V Road and go north. You'll see some pretty nice up there on them roads.
Okay, I need you to look at that. That's the first I've heard of that.
I mean, the ditch.
Minimum maintenance road?
Bottom of the hill below my house, the culvert's plugged. So water's been running through for 4 or 5 years. I said to the road and bridge guy about it 2 or 3 years ago, and he says, I don't want to talk to you. I don't have to talk to you. All we're worried about is 142. And that kind of ticked me off because they wanted to get it smooth because the gravel was stirring up gravel for everybody.
Yeah, and Charlie, in those situations, that's when you should reach out to me. If
Right.
somebody tells you from
And then
Road
they-
and Bridge,
Well,
if
then
they tell you that,
they seal the roads. They seal up to 166 and T right up to my corner. And I asked my neighbor, I asked him who did that, and they said, actually, I think Mark told me that the landowners paid for that. When I talked to my landowner buddies that live south of me, they said, oh, no, the county did all that stuff. We didn't have to do none of that.
So do you understand why we did it?
Well, I would like for you to do my road. Hey,
I'm sure you would.
but there's several construction companies in there that
Yeah.
blast up and down
Yeah.
my road, stirring up dust and shit. We can't even, our house is so full of dust right there along the road. It's uncalled for because of the cheap gravel and the. But I called up again and said something about speed limit signs. And I got a big old static about, well, the speed limit's 55 or 45 on county roads. This was whoever's in charge of the road and bridge. I don't know who he was that talked to me, but he hung up. And I probably know why, maybe a little attitude. But they've been going up and down that road forever. I got grandkids. I said something about the roads not having 45-mile-an-hour signs on them. So then what happens? Amazingly, all four corners west of me, 45-mile-an-hour sign thrown in the ditch at an angle like this, and one of them was laying over. That tells me that was a pissed off county employee that did that. Whatever, I can't, I don't need this to talk. Hear what I'm saying.
Yeah, and like I said, if they're putting gravel on minimum maintenance roads, this is the first I've heard about it. Have you guys heard anything about that?
Go a mile east of my house,
Okay,
to the east end of the old coyote field starting work. You'll see the nice, pretty white gravel.
okay.
And there's a few of my neighbors that live in there that I don't mind them gravel roads to their house. But that's a road to nowhere.
Okay, we'll check that out.
But if it's gravelled up to their house,
No, it's not.
okay,
There's not a house on that road.
okay, thanks.
It's my hunting road.
They're making sure you can get it. They're making sure.
Yeah, Charlie, I know what kind of hunting you do though.
Yesterday. Yesterday, when I drove up through there and seen the gravel.
Okay.
It hasn't been there a month, I don't expect the new gravel.
All right, thank you.
We'll
We,
check
all
it out, Charlie.
right, we have a question over here.
Mine is actually a little bit more of a statement. I just wanted to say that as an American, I have the right to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And requiring me to take out a permit to build something in my own backyard is an impediment on my liberty. And if I get hankering one morning to get up and build a chicken coop, I should not have to fill out a permit for that. If I want to build a little tiny shed just because I want it to and because I think it's pretty, that should be allowed. And it's my right as an American to be able to do that.
I couldn't agree more, but would you guys like to say anything about it? No? Okay, next question. Where are we at? Oh, there we go.
Hello, thank you guys first off for doing this. I know it's not easy to sit in that seat. My name is Morgan Hansen and I am a member of Delia City Council. I know Delia is just a tiny town, but it's my home and I love it. So I just want to know, I'm asking on behalf of Delia residents, how do you plan on communicating moving forward with Delia? I'm a little concerned about the nuclear power plant. I'm not pro or against it. I simply don't know enough. I have to research more, but I do know when solar was potentially going up within 1 mile of our home, we were never even spoken to. No one came to talk to us. It feels really invasive. We raise our kids there. It's our home and we feel constantly overlooked. Last time it snowed, I had to email the county because it was 2 days later and our main road wasn't even plowed. Just we're fighting a water crisis right now. We don't have a water tower. We're hopefully getting a grant. We'll see. But I mean, we're potentially facing not having a town. So to sit up here and talk about pay increases and budgeting, I get it. I'm where you're at, but I do feel like on behalf of Delia, I need to ask, and please remember us. We want you guys to come and talk to us. We want to work with you, but we can't do that when no one works with us.
So thanks. I appreciate you making a comment about that. So I represent Delia and I've been over to visit with the city council many times.
When?
A year ago,
Okay, I've been on almost 2 years.
maybe year. I'm trying to think when I came over and visited with the city council. Anyway,
We want you to come again. Come back.
I've been over there, met with Melody,
Uh-huh.
Chris Gordon, met with fire department. You are correct when it comes to the way NextEra moved in. I don't agree with it either. That's what I'm trying to get across to this community is that if the community will allow Terra Power to come in and have the conversation before they ever pick a site. Let's just have the conversation. Let's not get our information from social media. Let's get real information. Let's have real conversations. Not work off of myth and mystery and speculation. I don't know where it would go over there, but it's got to be close to the transmission lines that go to Jeffrey Energy Center. That's just reasonable.
Yeah.
So did you have something else?
I guess my follow-up question to that would be, I know you talk about revenue and all the money the county would receive. You want to put this in I'm talking solar, I don't know where nuclear, I'm assuming would be in our backyard too. We don't directly benefit. Have you been to Delia? We won't benefit from that. Holton will, and that's great, but I'm more concerned about the little communities that don't get direct. It's not gonna be a big deal. If anything, we're gonna deal with all the side effects of it and live right next to it. And we're oftentimes overlooked.
You're talking about solar.
Solar or nuclear, whichever it is.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah. It
people
would
think we're the
directly.
armpit of Jackson County. So
It-
why not throw up a solar farm right out there? or
I would
nuclear plant
disagree
right out
with.
there?
I would disagree with you.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I don't think that.
Yeah, no, when it comes to tax dollars though, we have given money to the city of Delia
Mhm.
through our alcohol fund. So we receive money.
ARPA.
No, not ARPA. That's federal dollars. This is alcohol. So for every gallon, all the alcohol that's sold, a percentage of that money comes back to counties and we have to divide it up into, alcohol and awareness, parks and rec. And so because Delia does not have baseball, softball teams, or they didn't, they don't really have a parks and rec, but they have a little park. I remember when Melody called and said, we need some money for a roof on the community building. We were able to give them $25,000 out of that to finish the project. We've done that in the past. And so I have met with Melody and talked to her about the problem that you guys are having with your water.
Mhm.
But you have a city council. And if you have a city council who, from what I was told, didn't prepare for the coming problems, I can't tell them what to do. But I've tried to help her with research on where to get grants, how to get grants, all that kind of stuff. I still would like to figure out a way. Right now, going south out of Delia, that bridge, we had an issue with it. We had to fix it in a hurry, and that's really the only way out. I'd still like to figure out another route that when that happens, you can get out of the Delia area without having to go down a minimum maintenance road or whatever. But it all takes dollars, and there's a lot of cities in the county. So I do have those conversations, and I do see what's going on over there.
A lot of cities that you're not wanting to put solar farms and nuclear plants next to.
It doesn't have anything to do with the city or the people who live there. It has to do with the proximity to Jeffrey.
Yeah. I think
So,
the people
so
who
you
in the
live
city would
next to
disagree
Jeffrey?
with you.
You
Yeah.
live, yeah, I'm just telling you, it has nothing to do, if I could put it in eastern Jackson County, okay, would that make sense? No, because the lines are over there. And that's what I'm trying to get across is that there are areas out there where a nuclear facility would fit, where a 5,000 acre solar farm wouldn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct. I'm saying, don't you say we have a higher stake in it being there?
Yeah, Keith, I think what she's saying is you say it has nothing to do with them, but they're the ones going to take all the impact. So it does have something to do with them, even though I understand you're putting it
Okay,
next to
I
Jeffrey,
appreciate
but what they're
that.
saying is
Sure.
that it's going to impact them.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. And I hope there's more conversation as we go through this so that we can answer, we or they can answer those questions for you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Is there any truth to AI data centers coming this way?
I'm not to my knowledge. I don't know
That's
anything
good.
about.
Let's keep them far away.
You know, Keith, while he's walking that over there, one of my concerns with the nuclear power plant is based on a lot of the stuff that Trump has said lately. They're building nuclear power plants to support data centers. And I would keep an eye out on that because that could easily be sandwiched together and thrown onto the people of Jackson County. And I would agree with her. It'd be a bad idea.
And can I say something on that right there? Can I have a show of hands in there? Who uses social media? Who posts? Come on, I know everybody does. Who posts pictures on social media? Who saves pictures to the cloud? Who saves any Excel files to the cloud? Who does any of that? Anybody? Any business people? Okay. You save anything to the cloud? Zero. Okay.
You're different though.
Yeah, well, here's going to be, and I've done some research on this, so this is just what I'm found out. And okay, so your data centers that we're talking about, because that's all the big buzzword now is data centers, correct? Data center, data center, data center. A data center is a server farm from back when I was growing up. Well, when I was growing up, they didn't have computers, but many years after that. All those are as a server farm. Now, is there more and more data centers being built now? Yep, there is. You know why? Because everybody's posting to the cloud. Everybody's using Chat GTP. Everybody's using, posting pictures and all this good stuff. Every time that you do that, where does it go? It goes to a data center somewhere because that is the cloud. The cloud's not some magic thing up in the sky. So every time that you do that, you are, and I am too, am supporting the data centers, am supporting the server farms. So just so everybody's clear on that, we all are using them.
Well, that's partially true. I mean, there's another side to that too. There's 5,300 data centers in the United States of America compared to 400 in China. Go ahead. You want to bring a mic over here? Oh, sorry. We got the first question. I'll get back to you.
Can I respond to his comment? The primary use of those. Not even close. AI tracking of all this information.
Lock cameras.
Creepy is the word that comes to mind.
Cryptocurrency.
So we don't need those.
So, we do have flock cameras in Jackson County.
Right. Question. Is it just me or are we increasing the amount of roads we're chip and sealing? It just seems to me that we're.
No.
What is the primary reason we're chip and sealing the roads?
So the roads that were chip and sealed, we have a responsibility to maintain those. We have not done any new chip and seal. So we have like 52 or 53 miles of hard surface roads, and they're on a rotation. I think it's every 3 years. There's a certain amount of them that they come in and they tack oil them and they drop new chip on it.
Upkeep.
Yeah.
It just seems like there used to be a lot more gravel roads when I was a kid, and now it's chip and seal. Is that not true?
No, I'd never build another chip and seal road for the simple reason they won't withstand commercial traffic, semi-traffic.
Seems like a middle ground to cut dust down, and it's just a waste of money.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay, right up here in front. Shoot that. Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, my name is Jim Ricketts. I've lived in Olton about 40 years now. I come into the county courthouse up here. The county sent me a letter on some properties I own, wanted me to fill it out because they're rental properties. Why should I have to tell you what I get for rent or what I spend on that house because it's a rental? You raised my rental. My house and the house across the street from me is identical houses, but you raised it because it's a rental house. I appealed. I wanted to talk to the person that came and looked at my house. Well, he don't work here no more. I said, I want to see a picture of the back of the house. We ain't got that. But you raised it. You guys, when I walked into the courthouse, right there at the doors, you said you didn't know nothing about it. I get upstairs and she says, they know about it. You look at the house in this town is probably 40% are rental houses. Most of these people that are renting houses are slumlords. They don't take care of their houses because they're paying so much on taxes and insurances. I got a house right beside me. The guy wouldn't trim the trees that was falling on my house and the vehicles. So I had the county come, or the city come down and look, showed him, talked to them. You want it done, you do it. Well, I did it. He wants to take me to court. Take me to court. You didn't pay for it. I had to pay for it.
So
You
the
know?
short answer to your question about filling out that form, you don't have to.
Oh, I know, I didn't.
Okay.
But why should that house be more money because it's rental? It should have been cheaper because
Yeah.
they tear them up.
I'm not going to argue with you a bit. You don't have to fill that out and put how much you're getting for rent. But we're required, because that is one of the things that the appraisers, all appraisers in all 105 counties use is the value based on what kind of income comes off of it. So I'm just telling you, that's what's used. I'm sorry? It's required that we use the cost, that analysis to come up with a value.
I had a house.
Hang on, I'll find it.
10,000 in damages. 10,000 in damages. That's just for the material. Gary Sawyer gave me an estimate. Just for the materials to fix what they tore up was $10,000, but they raised it a lot more than my house. And I've lived there for 40 years. I've watched people live there that their husbands died. Well, they're a single mother or family, they can't afford to pay their taxes now. And I just talked to 3 people that lived here in Holton that moved to Shawnee County because they couldn't afford to pay their taxes because they were single. You need to look at what you can do for these single people that they can't afford to pay some of these taxes, and the taxes are ridiculous, completely ridiculous, especially over on my area of town. It's stupid.
You do realize that living in town, so I just want to make sure you understand that you're paying much higher taxes because of your school district, right?
Right.
Okay, just wanted to make sure of that, because there are people who live outside the county or outside of your school district that don't pay that as much in property tax.
Why did the school sell that for $1?
I couldn't.
$1. Look at the money being
I can't
made
answer
over
that
there now by somebody.
And do you appeal your taxes when you get statements and you think they're too high? Okay. Okay. Okay.
So just to,
Okay.
so
Okay.
just to answer your question, try to help you understand just a little bit. There are 3 ways valuation methods, okay? All appraisers in all 105 counties, I don't know outside of Kansas, but it's a sales approach. So compares properties, similar properties that have sold, right? Okay, and then the cost approach. So let me finish.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Then let's move on.
So the sales approach, cost approach, and the income approach. But most people don't fill out the income approach. So an example would be, maybe you don't get hardly anything off of it. It might actually reduce your property taxes. I'm just saying that's the way it's done. I don't make those rules. I didn't make them. They were created in, 1959 or 60 when they changed it to the ad valorem tax system. I'm just trying to help you understand it.
Thank you, Keith. Next question.
All right, so on the data centers, just want to let you know that last year in 2025, that our state legislature passed SB 95, which gave data centers a 20-year sales tax exemption. Let that soak in. Our legislators passed SB 98 in, I believe it was April 2025, that gives data centers a 20-year sales tax exemption. They pay no sales tax on construction materials. They, on their servers, any remodel, nothing. That's what our state legislators are doing. And then the other thing is that when they come into the communities, then they ask the city or the county to give them a property tax abatement. And these tax giveaways are just like Christmas trees on these data centers. There's no reason to do this. I mean, if the data centers come in, they have to pay their fair share of taxes. It's like we have a two-tier system. What we pay, and then what the big boys pay. The chiefs in Wyandotte County, they'll never pay any property taxes on their stadium because the state is going to own it. You have no idea the billions that are being taken from you and given to billionaires. It is a mess. So anyway, I just want you to know that you need to call your state legislators and say, why did you vote for this? Some of them didn't, but I mean, it was like, I think it was 87-38, something like that. It was a huge, and it's the Democrats and Republicans, they vote together on these tax incentives. This started back when we passed a constitutional amendment in 1986 for reclassification and equalization. And the same time, we also passed a constitutional amendment on economic development. And that has absolutely, it has shifted the tax burden onto the residential. In Johnson County in 1988, it was 47% of revenues collected, property tax was residential. It is now 70%. It's been a huge shift.
Thank you very much. Matt, did you have a question? Okay,
Yeah.
you're up, buddy. Oh, wait, sorry, there's one back here first. Then you're up. You're up
I
second.
don't, is this on?
Go ahead.
Two questions for you. Number one, you want to build a nuclear power plant next to some folks down in Delia. Are you prepared to pack up your bags and move down there with them?
I personally wouldn't have a problem living next to it, but that's just me.
I wouldn't have a problem with it, John, but I don't live in that area. But the specific, and hang on, before you start, the specific reason that we mentioned that portion of the county is why? Because of the transmission lines. That's the whole reason. That was it.
I get that part. But, you've got Jeffrey down there, a coal-fired plant. They wanted to put that in Jackson County.
Mm-hmm.
We kept it out. Now, I don't know. I wasn't living here at the time.
Was that a good idea to keep it out?
No, not Jeffrey. I would go for a coal-fired plant.
Okay, thank you.
Did you have another question?
No, that's it. I just
Matt?
wanted to know.
I got you over there. No, go ahead, Matt, and then I see you over there. Go ahead, Matt.
I just wanted to mirror what some people said earlier. I really, really appreciate the three of you showing up tonight. Again, this is, hard to do, and I appreciate it very much. I really especially appreciate all of you showing up tonight. This speaks loudly. Thank you. Pat yourselves on the back. Good job. So, ladies and gentlemen, Eagle View, as I understand, was brought into service in Jackson County during COVID because of the not going door to door or something like that. Is that correct?
No.
How was the Eagle View came to be used?
So we were going to need to hire an employee, and we felt like it was much cheaper to use Eagle View, $30,000, than to hire a full-time employee with benefits. You're talking between $60,000 and $70,000 with benefits.
Got it. Okay. So it takes images that are high res from high altitude.
Correct. We do not pay for the highest resolution.
But high enough for utilization.
We do not pay for the highest, though. We are middle of the road resolution, which gets the shapes of a house, so we can tell if somebody's added onto it or if a structure's been added.
So it's also true that the appraiser's office has to every year physically visit 1/6 of the properties.
That is correct.
So then would that not make Eagle View redundant? Or what purpose is Eagle View for that money serving when the appraisers have to come out in person anyway?
So the reason for it is it identifies all structures in the county, where 1/6 of property have to be physically photographed and measured.
But you're going to
State
catch up
statute.
with them anyway in 6 years.
I'm sorry?
You're going to catch up with them anyway in 6 years. But what I'm driving at here, and I'm not trying to play gotcha.
Right, so
This is
instead
a
of
math
6 years.
equation, right?
So instead of 6 years, so just to give you an example, every 3 years, the flyover's done. There were 300 buildings that were built without permits. The only reason we need the permit is so that everybody's paying their fair share in property tax. Don't you want that?
So the math equation in that statement you just made would be, what did we net on those 300 buildings and in the time versus what we paid for Eagle View? Is everyone following me?
No. What did
So
we
if we're not
net?
net, there's no return on investment, then why are we paying? I mean, if Eagle View is really great, then I support it. But if we're not getting a return on investment, it's just to play gotcha with a handful of people, 300 buildings, then it's not worth the money. There's a place you could cut.
Matt, I guess I'm not following. So
Money on the 300 billion to pay for it.
I can't answer you that.
But you asked earlier, where's a place to cut? There's a place to
I
look.
can't give you a direct number.
I
If
know.
you're asking, are all those buildings taxable? I don't know the answer to that question sitting
But you
here
asked us
tonight.
earlier about places to cut. And again, I'm not playing gotcha politics, you guys. I'm saying, hey,
Sure.
that came to my mind, so I wrote this down. And then
Yeah.
the other thing I wrote down when you asked about where to cut, you guys had indicated, I don't remember who it was, that the state mandates certain departments by state law, right? We all understand that and agree with that. The question then is, does the state mandate how much money you spend on that department?
No, that's what I said. We can fund the sheriff with $1. We can fund
Okay,
the
so
health
that
department
being
with
said,
$1.
let's select
So,
one,
you know, I
not
mean,
the sheriff.
that's
because
what we can do.
Politicians love to pick emergency
Noxious
services
weed?
for cuts. So let's not pick the emergency services.
Okay.
Let's look at noxious weeds. So that's almost $500,000.
Well,
What are we
with
as
noxious
Jackson-
weed this year.
When it's your turn to talk, I'll stop talking.
Okay, you go ahead, Matt.
When, for the benefit of all these people, what are we getting out of noxious weeds for almost $500,000? And I'm not saying it's not necessary, but how do we justify that?
Great question.
Thank you. Go.
So with the noxious weed, and I don't have that in front of me, there's $500,000 spent, but then we sell back to the county residents. So it actually almost pays for itself back. And this year also, we were able, through state legislature, we were able to add a storage fee onto that also, so that will even cut into that more. The $500,000 is not is not what's actually, it's what we spend, but we get money back from that each year. So we get what, a percentage, and I can't remember what the percentage is.
That might be something really useful to post on your Facebook page, your county commissioner's page, so that people know that, okay, hey, we spent 400 and some $1,000 and we got $390,000 back. Because from where we're all sitting here, it's like, well, I don't know what the noxious weed department does for $400,000.
Sure.
You
And
explain that, but
yeah.
let's make sure that
Yeah.
if it's revenue neutral, then let's tell everybody.
You got to look at the income side too. So you can't look at just the budget side and not look at the income side, because there are things like how recycling. They make money, but if you look at the budget, that's all you're seeing. You got to look at the income side of it. Landfill, for instance, they make money. And I think it's a real benefit to the community to be able to haul construction rubble down there and be able to bury it. But you got to look at the income side. How many people in this room use noxious weed because they can buy chemical cheaper than they can go to a retail store, right? That's one of the benefits to the community.
But is it making enough money to be revenue neutral? In other words,
I don't know that
if
it's
we- if
completely
not, then
revenue
maybe
neutral.
We're not using that money best based on the number of hands shown here. It's just a place for, well, hey, 17 people can go get cheap chemicals and everyone else pays for it.
It's way more than that. I mean, there
But
are a
those
lot of
facts
farmers
I
and
I would present to you to present to us.
yeah. And again, when you ask for, if you're going to ask for a budget, ask for the income side too, and that'll tell the full story. So you'll be able to see where the income's, and it's listed in there. So, but good question. Thanks.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Over here. Yep.
So it all sounded good till you said Bill Gates. And how much does Jeffries have on acres?
I can't answer that.
And if you had the nuclear plant, how many acres roughly do you think that would take up?
It's from the information that I've gathered from the one being built in Wyoming, under roof is about 15 acres. They would like to have 100 to maybe 120. But again, those are questions it's not a lot of land. And I think some of the idea is it gives them a perimeter for security.
Okay. So then the solars was 2,000?
Well, I think they were pushing 5,000 acres. Yeah. So TerraPower's nuclear facility, and don't quote me on this exactly, but I think it's 325 megawatts of power constant, 500 for 5 hours under load. And so that equivalent to 5,000 acres, to me, it's a no-brainer.
By contrast, the nuclear power plant down south of Burlington.
Great example.
1,000 acres, 1,500.
Yeah.
That
Way
you can-
much bigger.
You can, like, I know at Jeffries and everything, you can go and hunt, fish and all that stuff on that. You know, it's got a list, you can't just go in. You got to sign in, go through the whole paper.
Probably won't be able to do that on a nuclear facility.
And how much did we spend on the dead end road, 234th?
234.
The 234th line?
I guess I'm not following you. How much did we spend to do what?
To redo the road that goes nowhere to the houses back in the back.
Oh, you're talking about Deer Run.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Deer Run, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Private drive almost.
Yeah, I don't know the number offhand.
I don't have the number offhand either. That was, and here again, this sitting commission inherited that because a prior commission took that road in before that one, and there's another one out there too that they've taken in without forcing the developer to bring it up to county specs.
Yeah, so if that makes sense, somebody previous to us said, okay, yeah, we'll take it over and we'll maintain it. When we went in there to rebuild it, it wasn't even where it was supposed to be. It was outside of easements and there was a lot of problems with it. We felt like it was an opportunity to fix it and fix it right. And so that's what we did.
I mean, one of the first things that we got asked when we had the meeting with them was, well, we were told when he moved out there that it was going to be blacktop. So when are you going to blacktop it? And it's like, well, it ain't going to happen because, there's just no sense of doing that. But it was one of the, we've heard these how many times for different things that handshake agreements, well, this is supposed to be done. I mean, I've been told that the road 254 clear over to Soldier is supposed to be blacktopped. It was supposed to be blacktop years ago. And once again, it was a handshake agreement with whoever, who knows, but I've had that brought up to me too. So,
and just another piece of information for you. 4 years ago, we passed a resolution that said we will not take over any cul-de-sac roads. Just not going to do it. So if somebody builds a cul-de-sac and it goes back in there, they're going to have an HOA to take care of it. Taxpayers aren't going to do that.
Thank you. Right there.
Hey, back you were talking about the building permit, simplifying things, not having to go to Menards, Home Depot to get your itemized statement of, your cost of materials and everything. When I went into the county, I went in after the fact and got a building permit. And
it happens.
Yeah, I know. Didn't realize I needed one. I got out there in sticks. But anyway, I took one look at it and it's like, okay, we got this grid paper. You're supposed to sketch out all this stuff. This is 2025. You can't tell me you don't have computer software that can detail all your, well, actually, when I went into the appraiser's office, they were more than helpful. And actually, I told them by the time we were done, I'd either be kicked out or they'd be laughing. They said I'd be there 20 minutes, an hour and a half later. They were wrong. Anyway, we pulled it all up on the computer. We brought up the sketch or brought up the profile of the house.
Well, we're gonna parallel over 25 feet this way. It's gonna come out 16 feet this way. We're gonna put the porch around front, which is too close to the road. We've resolved that issue too. Anyway, they were more than helpful and they're really good about it. It was a really simple process. I estimated all the cost of material. I didn't have to go here, there, anywhere else. It was very simple and they were very good about it. The other thing, as far as your Eagle View coming up with 300, 400 buildings, that was in the paper, however many it was. Double check what's not there anymore. Because I had a building, it was 20 by 36 that blew down in April, May of 2015, and it was still on my taxes. And they could not tell me one way or the other until we started looking at their maps and stuff that it had been, and it had not been taken off. So it's just, double check your stuff and take care of your own business.
Call them if you have a building blowing out, it's damaged, who should call them?
It does.
They'll do it.
Yeah.
You're exactly right, Matt.
And
Communication.
if Charlie doesn't want the minimum maintenance road gravel, we
I know where we can put some, don't we, Roger?
And we've talked about that too. And if anybody wants a video of a Hoyt Fire Department truck being pulled off of a minimum maintenance road, let me know. I got
Okay.
one.
Hey, I do have just a couple comments to go along with what you were talking about. So are you familiar with revitalization?
Well, that's the side effect of getting the permit after the fact. And my neighbor Mark's laughing at me.
Okay, so just a couple things that we've tried to do when we recognized there was an issue is that we changed the email so that it is whenever you communicate with them on revitalization, that email is not going to an administrative email. It's going into an email that is for revitalization only, so that those are opened on a daily basis by any employee in that office. You don't have to be an administrator. The other thing that we were requiring residents to do is drive across the county or put a signed document in the mail. Everybody knows how long it takes sometimes to get mail. So we're asking them to put DocuSign in. It's a simple thing. You can DocuSign and it's done. So a couple things that we're trying to do to make it better.
Yep, I had no problem.
Appreciate your comment.
Yeah, thank you.
On the revitalization, real quick question on revitalization, would you all be open to, or have you considered doing an appeal process for revitalization? I know there was somebody recently that tried to do revitalization and missed a sort of deadline, and the comment was made that we can't give them a break because we haven't done it for anybody else. So instead of having that sledgehammer answers, or a way that there can be an appeals process developed so that that way when people are busy and they miss something, because people mess up, that they can actually get that revitalization that they were going after, and then also open that up to people that might have missed it for a check in a box here or crossing their T there.
Yes.
Yes, there is an appeal process, and it came before us, the commission, and I was the one who voted against that particular appeal, if you will. And the reason that I did that is because I stated in the meeting, I said, we cannot do this one because we turned several down the year before for basically the same thing. And I said that we cannot show favoritism and play favorites. It's either got to be this, because the way that the rules are written right now, it's either got to be this or just open it up and say the heck with it. We don't care.
Agreed. But my question would be, can we just open that appeal process up to people that feel that they got turned down? That way it's open to everybody and we're not unfairly treating the folks badly that didn't get it applied last year. So open up that appeal process to those people within the last year that feel they should have got it. That way it's fair to everybody.
Okay, and can you explain to me what you mean feel they should have got it?
So people that people are going to get approved or denied for different reasons, right? But I don't think it's right to blanket deny somebody because somebody else got denied. So maybe allow those people that got denied to appeal their denial, so that way that process is opened up to everybody fairly.
So in the rules, if you've already started construction, you've disqualified yourself. So.
I have an agenda item for you all to consider on Monday. 2 of the 3 commissioners tonight have said that they do not support solar. Save Planning Commission effort and sanity and invoked a moratorium on it because I know a lot of effort's been going on to that. And if it's not going to make it through your office, why let them go through all the pain and suffering of trying to come up with regulations for it? Another topic that we covered tonight, somebody said that we keep very excellent records of road work and gravel applied and other traits that are done to the county roads. It would be great if we could see like a weather map, make it a living document. I don't know, start at the beginning of the year or whatever and show this is the roads as they are the first of the year. And then as take a snapshot a week or whatever and update what work has been done where. Just out of curiosity, you said you already have a very accurate records of that. So that might make some people more comfortable with how their road is.
Yeah, I'm not sure how we would get that to what you call a living document. I mean, again, I can turn a laptop on, but that's about it. We can look into it. That's great comment. We use Facebook to try to let people know what roads are being done, but that information's available through Road and Bridge.
Next question?
Yeah, my question is, you stated earlier that property tax and sales tax were your 2 main revenue sources for this county. But then later you said you were all for the bill that would eliminate property tax. So what is your plan then to recoup all of that money that you would need if we eliminated property tax?
Yeah, good question. Obviously, if the state, the legislature eliminates property tax, they're going to have to come up with what Alan said, a value-added tax of some sort. Yeah, there's a way to replace it. They can't just do away with property tax without funding counties and cities and any of the taxing entities.
Tax, like if I buy a skid steer at an auction and then the property appraiser comes and looks at my property, am I not taxed on that for having that piece of equipment on my property? If I buy a skid steer at an auction and I put that on my property, I have 80 acres and I put that on my property and then the appraiser comes and looks at my property, are they taxing me on those pieces of equipment that are on my property?
Do you get a tax bill for it?
I would have to look at my valuation, but back to the appraisal,
Should be just
I
under,
wasn't
right?
aware of my ability to refute my property taxes. And so now I'm working through what are my rights for my process of appeal, because my property taxes went through the roof and I don't agree with it. And so that's why I'm asking, well, if it's every single little tiny thing, and I went in and asked for my property card, but the way that it was explained, well, we can explain it to you if you want, but it goes back down to, am I even really sure what I'm reading? And so I would like to have that too. If everybody knows how to read their property card, do you even know what a property card is? And then it's available for you to request that says exactly what they're taxing you on. But I would like to know how to read it, just like the gravel and rock testing. I want to know what I'm reading. Otherwise, it's just numbers on a piece of paper that don't do me any good.
All right, go ahead.
So I guess I would just like
Oh, thank you.
yeah, on the whole nuclear thing, not to keep bringing it up or whatever, but what is like the current right now status of like discussions with them? Or I mean, I just, part of it's like, okay, we're talking about here, and then okay, they don't even know if we're even going to bring it to the county. So like, I mean, where are you guys at with talking to
What we did, we are in no conversations with them at all yet. Okay, we haven't had no contact with them at all yet, other than in November, and I don't have the date in front of me, but in November, we passed a resolution that stated that Jackson County would be very interested in the nuclear facility. And I'd read in October.
Opening up dialogue.
Yeah, opening up dialogue. I'd read in October that TerraPower and Kansas Department of Commerce and Evergy were teaming up to bring 2 nuclear reactors to the state. And so when I read that, I came in and talked to my other two commissioners and said, I suggest that we send a resolution. That is what I've seen a couple other counties do. Send a resolution or pass a resolution and then send a letter of support to Department of Commerce, Evergy, and TerraPower stating that we would be interested in entering into conversation with them to host a nuclear power plant here in Jackson County. And so that's where it's at right now. That's all we've got is that.
At least have the conversation.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, the first time I heard about it, I see it on Facebook, WWW, we're getting the power. You know what I mean? It's just, it's very misleading.
Yeah, it is.
And Matt got interviewed. Where is he?
He's over there. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, I got a question emailed in from the audience, someone who didn't want to ask it, so I'm going to just share it. And it's not really a question, so just maybe you can comment. It says under KSA 192908, counties cannot impose zoning regulations on land or structures used solely for ag purposes except for floodplain regulations. Is that accurate?
I believe so.
Any other comments?
The only,
It says KSA 192908 is what it said.
the only reason we ask for a building compliance permit, even on an ag building, is so that you're not building within 40 foot of your neighbor. Nobody wants that, or in a floodplain. And we want to determine.
And to put it on the tax roll.
Well, of course.
Right.
I mean, that should, I would think everybody would want that done, right?
Right. Well, I'm just saying that.
There's three purposes for it, but
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Did we have a question over here? Go ahead.
Yeah, mine was just more of a comment, when everybody talks about roads, and yes, our roads could be better and everybody wants better roads because it tears things up. Our business, we travel amongst 5 different states with silage trucks up and down everybody's back roads. And I can tell you in Jackson County, we are probably in the top 75% of roads in the east, in Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. So yes, there's always room for improvement, but I see a lot of people comparing roads to maybe Pot County, Jeff County, those types of things. And that's justifiable. But keep in mind, you get further out there, how fortunate we are to have the roads conditions that we do have, because it is a very difficult job to maintain those roads. So I'm not downplaying anybody's comments. It's just our roads are in very, very, very good shape compared to East Texas, East Oklahoma, Western Arkansas, and where we travel at a lot with heavy loads. And it's bad when you got to get a tow truck to pull a road off of a dry gravel road because they're that bad. So, and we don't have those issues here. So
That's helpful.
keep
Thank
that
you.
in mind.
Yeah,
when we're
thank
trying
you.
To improve our roads.
That's helpful. Any other questions over there?
I don't know if there's anything for what is expected out of the people when they start it. And then I understand there's, they can have a extension if they don't meet the deadline or whatever. Is there any way, why wouldn't a person get an extra extension and only one? Because they don't get tax money back until the project is done, correct?
Correct.
So what's the big deal?
Actually, you have to pay your first full year.
Right.
So a partial year, you wouldn't get anything.
I understand
back.
that, but what's the big deal if he needs another extension? Because you're still getting your full tax money until he's done.
Yeah, good thought. One of the things we've talked about doing, it's kind of complicated. Have you done revitalization?
No.
It
Our son
doesn't make sense that, like, if you start a certain time of the year, then if you don't get past a certain date, then you got to do something. Let's just make it calendar year. If you start from July 4th, you get to the next July 4th, or maybe it's 18 months, right? Wouldn't that make it simpler?
It'd make it simpler, and if you don't meet the 18 months, or maybe you need to make the 18 months, give me another 6-month extension. What's the big deal?
Okay, as long as there's progress.
Right, understand.
When they say they're gonna be out, you have to have it by this deadline. and they come out that morning and you have a crew there to finish and you did finish it, that's your fault for coming in the morning and not by the deadline. And you should have better instructions because the lady told him he just had to have this and this done, and he did. But then you said, no, we need more done. So you need better instructions.
I would agree.
Anybody, any other questions?
I got a question.
Okay.
I want to follow this up with Keith. Keith, you said that I come to the meeting whenever it was a budget hearing. I want to be at the budget session where you guys are going over line item by item. When we go to the budget hearing that you already have the budget set. I want to be in.
That's not true, Rex.
Well, it is true because the budget's already,
No.
you already got it made up and you would give it to us to look at. I want to be part of the procedure that makes up the budget. I want to be in the first process. I don't want to be.
And
necessarily
I
the second.
appreciate that. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I want to be in the first process is where I want to be. And I want to be, I would make a phone call. Christy knows my number. I want to be part of that process. I want to be part of the process when you have the hearing, and I want to be at the process prior to that.
So
And then
can I comment on that before you move ahead? So Rex, how do I say this? I appreciate the fact that you want to be part of the process. And that meeting that we have when all department heads are there, yes, the budget is put together and the numbers are there. But we have ample time for people to make suggestions where they would like to make changes. The budget is not set, but it is on paper. But when we're having those conversations with department heads, you can come sit in the meeting, but Rex, you're not an employee of the county. And
So-
that's what we're tasked with doing when we were elected, to work with department heads to develop the budget, then meet with the community. Because if we allowed, you can only imagine, I don't know how we would fit everybody in this room in the commission hall to have that conversation and how we would ever get. I understand what you're trying to say, but it doesn't work.
Okay, then how about having a Doge committee set up where we actually get a chance to look them budgets over in detail?
You
And then
can.
the other question I had was, I don't think it was answered, is Kate going to take a cut in wages whenever you hire a zoning administrator?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions out there? Now's your chance.
Go on over here.
Okay, here we go.
They're on their way.
Well, okay, let me back up. Sorry, real great public speaking, so prepare to be depressed. We all are free to live wherever we want to live.
You are.
A lot of people probably are in this county because they grew up here. It's fleeting. Some people came to this county because they saw something attractive. What I heard you start off the meeting with, we're looking at dollars and cents. How do we bring money in? I would hope there's caution in that, because looking at the almighty dollar above all else, sacrifices your way of life, my way of life, what a lot of other people thought and enjoy living in Jackson County.
Mhm.
And I think it would be prudent to have some safeguards in place, whether it lie at your level or some else, that we don't let ourselves get cornholed by solar or anyone else. It doesn't matter what big industry you want to bring in, because big money is just that. A lot of them are really keen on pulling that shuck and job. I hope we keep our eye on county, what's good about it,
I would agree with you.
and not let that. Just sit down.
I would say that I think that, as for myself, I came from a working background, business background with Dairy Queen, but I'm still grounded. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm I'm not my pie in the sky, head in the clouds kind of guy. I think that, you know, I'll be willing to debate and argue anything, as Keith will probably tell you. I don't think that you have to worry about that with this commission. We are not, when we're talking about bringing industry in, we're talking about bringing it in to help alleviate the tax situation that we have. That's what we're looking at. I don't think that you're seeing us say, you know, we're going to bring in anything that is going to be a detriment to this county. Okay? So that's my opinion.
You want a microphone?
Go ahead. What you got?
I think I'd like to ask each of you, you guys, you've done a wonderful job of answering our questions. You're a phenomenal job. But there have been a couple of occasions when you've had to say, I just don't know. I don't have the paperwork right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
If someone were to go through these recordings that we have at 2 hours into the meeting, you had to say you didn't know because of whatever. If I could present that to you as a question, would you agree to answer that when you have the chance to do the research?
Yeah, of course I would.
Yeah, actually, my wife's here and she's been taking notes on anything that I said that I couldn't answer. She's taking notes for me so that I can.
Would you guys be open to doing another meeting?
Yeah.
Was it pleasant enough?
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Carrie again. You know, we kind of talked about the nuclear power plant. I kind of like it because it is revenue. And we said we could build it on the west side of the county. But they can build transmission lines all across the county because I see them on Highway 75 down there by Hoyt that goes over. So we could put it closer on the east side if we just didn't want it on the west side. I mean, that's a possibility. Because we have those, because those are from Jeffries, right? The one right there before you get to Waller's house, right there south of 126th Road.
I don't believe those are big enough to handle the load.
Huh?
I don't believe those are big enough to handle that load.
Yeah, it comes down to,
Okay, Greenbelt Express, north of
No.
Green.
Green Belt Express, I think is the question.
Any other questions out there?
Yeah, I think if they want to tie into like the Green Belt Express, then it would have to go in the northern part of the county. So that's okay too, right?
I think though, Tom, what they're wanting to tie into is the Southwest Power Pool.
No, I understand that, but she was saying they could run transmission lines, but they're also running, Grain Belt Express is not canceled. That's just north of Jackson County. If they wanted to put it there and do eminent domain, Mark, he's north, that's fine. They'll
Sure.
just move
Somebody
somewhere.
wants to sell them 160
We
acres
understand.
up there.
We understand.
Brandon, you want to sell them
I
something?
don't think anybody's going to do eminent domain.
No, I don't think it's gonna happen either. I also don't think it's gonna go in Jackson County, but you can do what you want.
Well,
Okay,
but
Can I ask you a question, Tom? Just a minute. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Okay, when you first started coming into the meetings and stuff, and when all the solar stuff was starting, correct?
Yeah, I'm not anti-nuclear. I'm not saying I am.
Okay, well
I
then
didn't
you're,
say I was.
so
Not in my
should we have
backyard.
not even tried for
No.
this?
yeah, nobody wants it in their backyard.
You can try for it, but I also don't like Bill Gates.
I appreciate that.
I appreciate that,
here's the
but
thing. Wait. Now that you're on this, now that you're going down this, you do know this is a natrium reactor.
yes, sir.
You
Correct.
also realize they have not built one commercially yet.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
The first one's in Wyoming.
well, that one's near a coal plant just adjacent to it, when it's being, I guess, decommissioned. So this is basically a first of a kind. That one doesn't even get up and running until 2031.
Yep.
Wouldn't you want to wait before you ask for one of these until that one is up and operational?
Well, in my opinion, that would be all fine and dandy. But on something like this, I think if you wait, then we're just going to be SOL. I mean, so
You can ask. I'm not against you guys asking. You don't understand.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
If it's not gonna
So
be a good fit, I say it's out.
I
I think it'll be a good fit.
I think it will be a good fit for Jackson County for the size wise and for the revenue that it would bring in.
Yeah, it is still, do you guys familiar with it? Because it is still a steam turbine.
Yes.
With a sodium cool.
Yes.
I don't know if it's a closed loop. I don't know if it's really 100 acres or because it's right next to a coal plant using some of their water. I don't know if that's true or not.
From,
So we don't
from
have
everything,
details.
okay, from every.
And that's,
We
and
don't
that,
have enough details.
and that's
we
why
have
we,
not talked to anybody,
I
so,
know, I didn't say
yeah.
it was a big deal.
but from everything that I've read on the subject, yes, 100 to 160 acres. And, like I say, it's not supposed to be water cooled, so I would guess that it was closed loop. Like I say, from what I'm reading on it, I would guess it was a closed loop system.
Right, but the steam portion I'm talking about, the steam turbine.
we just want to have the conversation.
So
So
we,
that's,
I look forward to having a conversation with them.
yeah.
All right, excellent. Any other questions? Caleb?
We keep talking about bringing industry into Holton, Jackson County. What are we doing to encourage local business growth by local business owners so that tax money
Revitalization?
that tax money stays into the community instead of getting farmed out to
Yeah.
Bill Gates or the industrial power, whoever?
Revitalization is one of the things. So, for instance, the welding shop down south of Hoyt or north of Hoyt, they'll apply for revitalization and they'll get 7 years and tax abatement, and it'll help them on all their new construction that they're putting in. And it's going to be a real shot in the arm for that area.
All right, anybody else?
If not, I just want to go back to one thing. This is really important. Please go out and vote August 4th for the sales tax, the 0.05. If it doesn't pass, it's going to be a ton of money and we will be forced to raise the mill levy, or we will be forced to not put a lot of rock on the road. So it's really important that you guys get out and vote for that.
Keith, can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
This is my own personal question. Based on the questions that were here tonight, the county budget is up 35% since 2021. Economically, Kansas ranks 48. We have 1.4% growth. And yet, 19.6% inflation. Incomes have grown by 3.9%, and you're asking for more. I mean, how much? I don't understand.
I'm not asking for
How is
more.
it that the county can grow by 122 people since 2021, and here we are, you're asking for more? I'd love to hear it.
Not asking for more.
More sales tax.
It's what we're already receiving, and we're going to increase that by 0.1%.
In my world, that equals more.
Okay. I'll give you that, Rowdy. I'll give you that one. But what I'm telling you, what I want to share with you is that sales tax, and you and I have had this conversation, that it's a fair way to bring money in for the county, right? You like it.
I like it in lieu of property taxes.
Okay.
I don't like it in addition to property tax.
Well,
But in lieu of, sign me up.
so what I'm telling you is this property or sales tax has been around for at least 14 years that I know of, maybe longer. And it offsets what you have to pay in property tax to buy gravel.
I understand all of that. If you take 19.6% inflation, what this means is these people in this room since 2021 are 19.6% poorer. That's just the way it is. And then the county grows by 35%. Incomes grow for 3.9. So let's take that off of it. The people are not in a better shape financially, and yet the county wants to ask for more. I have a hard time swallowing that. I mean, I appreciate it. I respectfully.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just telling you what the numbers are. And I've told you tonight that we will look at budget. There are things that we can do out of road and bridge. And maybe some of that is subbing out some work and eliminating employees.
Keith, you know what happens at my house if I don't have the money to buy a new truck? I don't buy one.
I understand that. But you're operating your house. We're operating a county. And if you were sitting in this chair, you would do similar type things. We can't just not buy tubes, equipment, We can't just say, we're not going to do that anymore.
I appreciate that, and I can't just
Right.
not feed my kids. However, what I can do is decide whether or not I take them out to dinner.
And I believe that we do that.
You know?
I believe that we try to look at the budget and eliminate things that are not absolutely necessary.
Keith, I understand, and I think I'll just leave with this. You know what? I'm a pretty lucky guy. I'm debt free. I'm retired. Life's grand. All those good things. There's a lot of people who are struggling. That are really struggling. They can't afford to pay more. I just hear it. You guys do with that information as you will. Hey, everybody, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. It's incredibly awesome to see everybody here and for everybody to speak up. I promise you we'll do it again. I'm hoping we do it with the schools because that would be excellent. All right. Anybody else? Last call.
I
Please,
would
ma'am.
like to say something. So if you have questions, call. Don't believe everything that's on social media because it's not always true or PPA. Call somebody who really knows, or we'll try to find out for you.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you.
I'm actually very thankful.
I am too. I mean, this is a rarity. So,
I can be.
so you're familiar with SB 48?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. We just need to get everybody there.
I don't think it has any legs.
I don't either, but you know what? If enough people show up,
We're never gonna get it if we don't get up swing.
I know a senator that was there. He said basically this is how it works. If they don't want it, they don't even bring it on the floor. He said you need to tell them to force a vote so that they have to vote on it because it's an election year.
They will never vote themselves out of control.
I know. That's the problem. All governments like that.
Hey, Ryan. Thank you. Robert Thomas. Yep. Yep. Nope.
This was broadcast. You know, I was watching the clock for you, Mark. Oh, Robert, I wish I would have known. I would have announced it.
Oh, good. Oh,
I
good.
totally would have.
But yeah, running against Francis.
Okay, cool.
I'm just trying to get out and learn everything I can. Just those little nuances
You know
and
what we
stuff
could
like
do
that.
is we could get something with you guys. Why don't you get it?
Yeah, let's do this with on camera and stuff.
Let's do it.
Heck yeah.
I'm
Heck
100% game.
Yeah. I mean, I know the newspaper will probably do it later on, but that'll probably be like summertime before they get around to it. So yeah, let's do it now. Of course, they're probably gonna wait till session's over because they're too busy. I'm surprised he showed up. Francis didn't, the other guy didn't, but yeah, so let's do it.
Yeah, I'm 100% game. We can do this exact same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.